FM. See you on the lift.
Back attack, dude.
Hey, yo, homies.
Slide down the big hills. You know what I mean? On the big, nice burgundy snowboard.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to the Bomb Hole, which is presented by Pub Beer. And it's also presented by Run Through a Wall Smelling Salts. We are laughing because Bob Plum is in studio as a guest host, and simply looking at him makes us laugh. Bob, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here. Let's get it.
Mikey is literally crying. Mikey's guest hosting. How you doing, Mike?
Best day of my life so far.
Perfect. And then our guest today is Benny Urban. Benny, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, guys.
We are so happy that you're in the booth. All right, I'm going to do a quick intro for those who are unfamiliar with Benny. He is the first German snowboarder we've had on this podcast, I believe. Is that correct, Benny?
That's right.
Yeah, first German in the booth. He's had a great career filming some legendary video parts in Vans feature films, Nitro videos, Redbull projects, OASEN 7, Hexagon, Videograss, Given, 32. He's even gone on to help direct a few videos as of late. And most notably, he has an X Games silver medal in real snow from 2018. It's an absolutely banger part. He continues to put down great tricks in the streets with smooth, calculated style. Smooth as silk, they say. So let's get into this podcast, Benny. What brings you stateside?
Dude, thank you. Glad to be back in Salt Lake. Love being here. Love checking in with the crew. Love checking in with the people that I've got to know over the years. I was privileged enough to get to go to Mammoth last week for a Redbull shoot that we had going there. It was pretty cool, and I figured since I'm overseas already, I need to kind of stop back in Salt Lake on the way home. You know, it's heading east from Mammoth, so I figured I'll just stop in and say what's up, get to ride Brighton a little bit since they're still open, and get to see you guys too, so I'm stoked.
Amazing. Little fun fact, Benny and I were roommates. He lived with me in the States for a couple winters. What is it? One full winter?
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
One season I was staying at your crib. It was a sweet setup. I really enjoyed it. It was cool. Great time.
We had some good times. Now, wondering about this Red Bull situation. So, what's going on with this Red Bull thing? Like, is it a training camp? Is it a shoot? What are you guys doing? You guys chugging bulls? I heard there was like motivational speakers there.
Yeah, they were. This year,
Tony Robbins. What are we talking?
Salema was there.
Oh, no way!
And that was dope. Really inspiring stuff. This year, I think it was a little bit different than they usually do it. It used to be these progression sessions, I believe they call it, and this year it was more like a team session, team shootout style, so it was a bit mellower in that sense, and everybody got to ride and just enjoy the park. And of course, there was some pretty insane session happenings too, where I was kind of holding back and watching the slopestyle mega superstars do their thing. But happy to be a part of it.
Who was putting it down out there?
Dude, it was the first time seeing Takaru Otsuka shredding in person. That was quite impressive. Since I'm like not necessarily following, the contest scene too much, if I'm going to be very honest. I mean, I've seen stuff, but never seen those guys put it down in person. So that was pretty incredible to witness.
Killer. Well, let's run it back. You're obviously from Germany, as we mentioned before. I kind of want to hear about how you found snowboarding in Germany.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. So I was born in the north of Germany in a city called Hamburg, which some of you are familiar with. It's very far away from the mountains, and I was somehow exposed to snowboarding from a very young age on, even though I was living very far away from the mountains. So my dad is born in southern Germany, which is kind of in the Alps, right? And then my mom is French-Canadian. She's from Quebec. So when I was younger, we used to go to Canada to do Christmas trips to see the family. And that was actually the first time I've seen people snowboarding in the streets at the age of like 5 or 6 years old. Wow. I was like, wow, this is so sick. This is so cool. Haven't even tried it myself yet. And then a couple of years later, my dad went to Austria to this little like fishing cabin he and my grandfather had to do fly fishing. And he decided to bring me in the winter time just to check out the ski resorts in the area. So I finally get to snowboard for the first time. And ever since, I was just so obsessed with it and didn't want to do anything else.
That's so dope. What about when you went back to Europe? How's the closest? Isn't it like a snow dome the closest thing to Hamburg? Or do you guys have good resorts close?
Yeah, there is actually still a snow dome, which is called Bispingen, which is like an hour outside of Hamburg, just like on the countryside, which was sick that they ended up building it, but it kind of just started going when I was around 15 or 16, so I had already been snowboarding for around 10 years at the time the dome got built.
Damn, that's sick. Well, I know that like we have the maturity level of about like an 8-year-old. So I kind of want to mention when we fly into Munich, aka Munchen, the Ausfahrt signs everywhere are just unbelievable. I'm just a big fan of those.
Me too.
Ausfahrt, yeah. And I was kind of wondering if you could maybe grade me, Mikey, and Bob of who has the best German accent.
All right, let's hear it, guys.
Maybe Mikey, you want to take us away?
Ja, wunderbar. Ausfahrt. 2 Bier.
Bitte?
Dominic Wagner.
Yeah.
Oh, super, super.
Oh, yo, I love the pronunciation from all of you guys.
Are we sounding like locals, or no?
Yeah, the aggressiveness is there. I like it. It's pretty.
Scheiße.
Yeah. You guys are doing well. You guys,
Scheit und Scheiße.
that might have been a little too aggressive. But it's there. It's there. I can hear that you guys been over there and experienced it in person.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you have like can you do an American, or like, I mean, you kind of sound like an American. Your accent's pretty good.
I mean, I can try to be like doing this California accent. It's probably pretty good. It's like, you know, like a lot of likes and probably, I don't know.
You sound like you're from Texas.
I like
Really?
the tight lip too. Like your whole face changes.
Okay, well let's go with the Texanian accent then.
Do Forrest Shear for us. Do a Forrest Shear impersonation. You almost were there.
I can't do it, really.
Okay,
I mean, I can try a little longer if you want me to.
that's pretty. It's Texas.
Is that pretty good?
It's
Is that
Texas.
Texas?
It's for a
For
sheer
sure.
from Texas. Absolutely.
That's dope.
All right, so I heard you grew up like you rode for Atomic as a kid.
Holy
I know I'm jumping ahead. Am I jumping? Oh, dude, by the way, just like throw any like chronological. We're gonna jump around, but I want to hear how you went from like falling in love with snowboarding and getting sponsored, all that song and dance.
Okay. I need to ask you later who you got that information from that I was writing for Atomic. Yeah, we can take it back to the Hamburg days. So as I said, I somehow got exposed to snowboarding very early on, and I just really, really loved it. Really loved it. I found it fascinating. I mean, I was 7 years old, like having like subscriptions to snowboard magazines, you know, and I was living in the city, no mountains anywhere close. And I'd only get to snowboard on vacations, like Christmas vacations or like a spring break or whatever. My parents would take me, and you know, we'd go ride somewhere, which was an absolute privilege. That was crazy. I'm so thankful for that. So there was a local kite surf /skate /snowboard shop in Hamburg that I'll, you know, every other year would maybe get a board or something, you know, something from the shop. And then the shop manager was like, hey, like to me and my dad, like, hey, next weekend the Atomic snowboard team is going to be in town, and they're going to build this like in city like mini big air ramp. I was like, holy shit, this is so sick. Like, what? There's a ramp, there's snow in Hamburg. This is crazy. I need to go, right? So this one, I believe it was like a Saturday. So that Saturday morning, my parents were divorced at the time. So my dad would come and pick me up on that Saturday morning to take me there. And I fully thought I could go ride, you know, like this is like a public thing. I could just come and shred. So I'm like there with my board under my arm and my boots, I believe like laced up, you know, I'm like 10 or 11. And then my dad's like, what are you doing? Like, we're going snowboarding, right? And he's like, no, we're like going to watch snowboarding. And like, he's like kind of trying to be careful to not break my heart, you know, like telling me like, you probably cannot ride. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Should we just try? Like, maybe I can, you know? So we go there, and I'm just sitting there, like looking at these guys, like standing first row. And it's like a tiny, tiny jump, and just like a barrier rail pretty much that they have at festivals, you know, at the bottom with like the most shitty jump you can imagine. The rail wasn't even like put in the snow properly. It was like all wiggly. And so I kind of got the feeling like, well, this is going to be hard for me to ride there. And then my dad was like, hey, if you really want to ride, just ask this person. This obviously like the TM at the time. Like, I was like super tiny, you know, like, hey man, like, can I come ride? Can I go ride? And he's like, well, give it a try. And I actually did a back one first try and just landed it. And he's like, whoa, this is dope. Like, do you want to ride an atomic board for the rest of the day? I'm like, hell yeah. So it was this 148 atomic women's board. That was the smallest one they had on deck. It's like overhead high for me. So I ended up shredding with the guys with that atomic board and just like sessioning whatever was there. And then ultimately that was the start of everything, how it got rolling.
That's amazing.
Legendary.
That is so sick.
Child prodigy, 10 years old, back one, serving them up. How sick was it when you got that first, when you got sponsored, like that, like free board, like that?
It was crazy. I mean, I honestly, it's such a long time ago. I can't properly remember what the first board I got for free, unfortunately. But how it went down is, so that guy, Karsten Kermis, big shout out. I don't know if he'd ever listen to it. He's out of snowboarding now, but respect, because I don't know if without him I'd be sitting here today, honestly. After that given day in Hamburg, he's like, man, like, you should come out to the Alps. We got this event going on in like 2 weeks. It's like they even have a youth category, which is like under 16. You should just come out and shred. So actually, my dad and me went down there. Big respect for him to take me down there. Wrote the contest and won the thing. Won the U16 event. I think it was like a back three, maybe. You know, like back then the level was pretty low, but for like a 10-year-old, a back three off like the biggest jump in the park was, I guess, good enough. So that was like the very, very beginning of how I got sponsored, being a kid from Hamburg.
Damn, dude.
Super cool.
You came out as a jumper. You were.
Yeah, he's a big air Bob Blair.
Well, I don't know, not so much anymore these days. I got hurt jumping quite a few times on like big park jumps, so I was like kind of chilling a bit on that stuff lately. But as a kid, I was definitely doing more jumping. Yeah.
Now I have a question. Segue here. How did you meet Karsten?
Karsten boys, another big shout out, bro. Day one, bro. Karsten and me met at the skate park in Hamburg when I was also like super, super young. I believe I was 7, he was 8, or I was 6, he was 7. It was actually inline skate contest. I'm not ashamed of saying it. Fuck it. Fuck it. We're inline skating, we're shredding it up, and just become homies ever since. And fast forward 25 years later, he's filming and like the main guy for doing Nitro video stuff, and I'm still snowboarding and having the privilege to live from snowboarding, getting to travel. So yeah, man, it's been a long run with Karsten.
Yeah, well, he's a legend, first of all. Second of all, we got a guest question from him we'll hit later. But I kind of want to stay on this blading topic because that's fun for me.
I knew it.
First question, have you been a victim of blade shaming? You know, bladers get a lot of heat, you know? Have you caught some flack for blading in your life?
Not that I really remember getting some heat from it, but it was definitely like the skateboarders back then were like, what the fuck? Inline skating is whack, you know, this is so lame.
So that sounds like a yes.
That's blade shaming.
Well,
that's blade shaming.
Nobody
It's pretty standard blade shaming.
Standard issue blade shaming.
No one ever told me that to my face, but I was catching the vibe, you know?
You might have been too young.
Yeah, I think so.
I got a take with blading. I'm pro blade. I'd like to take a firm stance. I'm pro blading.
Okay, why?
Because nowadays you go to the skate park, it's like a dying art form. Like it's like you see a blader, it is, at least in this region, they are few and far in between, and you're like, damn, dude, respect.
Yeah, I feel that.
You know, the only thing with the blades is you guys could chill out on the wax a little bit.
I'm not blading anymore. Why are you looking at me?
I mean, I'm just saying, you're in the
guys,
category. You're still
if you ever did it, Chris is saying you're forever.
Yeah,
above.
you're you can't, that's a skeleton in your closet, so it's just saying.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed the bladers use a tremendous amount of wax?
I do, yeah.
Did you use a lot of wax?
I did. We also used butter and shit like that if we didn't fucking have any wax.
Damn.
Does it get icy when you hit the butter?
Kinda. Well, my inline skating career, in a sense, or like, you know, I stopped very early. I kind of stopped when I was around 10 or something. Like around that time that I was getting hooked with atomic snowboards, I was around all these cool snowboarders. You know, there's no way that I could blade, right? And I was like, you know, trying to be cool and trying to fit in, you know, as an 11-year-old kid, you know, I was trying to hang out with the like older guys. And I always had a skateboard. I always liked it, but never really had friends that did it. And I just had Karsten from like 6 to 10 or 11. So we're just doing that. But then I got a little bit more into skateboarding and, well, just kind of became more my thing, I guess.
You're nice on the skateboard these days. That's for
Thanks,
sure.
bro.
I did hear one more thing before we move on from blading. The Nija kink he grinded in the new Monster edit. That's like the thumbnail, that monster kink. I heard you got up on that on the blades.
I got up on it. Yeah, that's like a Hamburg classic. It's actually pretty funny. So this video they put out, the thumbnail of the video, you know, when you go on YouTube or whatever, it's that rail. It's like the Hamburg like classic mega kink. And we've known that thing forever. It's like in our backyards in a sense. So we'd always go there and mess around, even though we're way too small to actually like have the hops to get on it. But yeah, I think I don't know. We both kind of grinded it to the end, I think. Yeah.
Respect, dude. Respect. You beat Jaw to that thing. All right, so where'd you go from? You got on Atomic. You started killing it, and then what did it look like? Because it seems like I heard you were riding pipe contests when you were younger.
Yeah, so I mean, it was kind of difficult, me being in Hamburg, going to just a regular school, right? Nobody around had anything to do with snowboarding. I'm just this kid that's like getting free product, living in the city, to get enough time on the board. So we kind of got in touch with this national team, and they're pretty down to support me. And back then, the only Olympic discipline was halfpipe. There's no such thing as slopestyle or like national teams training their riders to become like good at jumping or whatever. So it was only halfpipe. But to me, it was like a reason to get out of school and just to spend more time on the board. So I'd go like on the vacation or like on the holidays we had, just on these trips or camps or whatever with the national team, just to spend time on the board. But it was basically just halfpipe. And after 2 years or so, they decided to do a summer camp in New Zealand. I think I was 15 or 16 at the time. I was like, holy shit, Mom, like I get to go to New Zealand. It was a snow park back then, not Cardrona. And I believe the White album had just come out or whatever with all the footage from it. I was like, wow. Or like some video.
Yeah, probably White Album.
Yeah, something along the lines. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I get to go there. And all we did was ride halfpipe, the super icy halfpipe from like 8 in the morning to 11. And they told us, hey, afterwards you get to ride this cool park over there. You get to ride rails. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to just go over to the park, right? I mean, I did like riding halfpipe, but not as much as doing the slopestyle stuff. Dislocated my shoulder and just came home and was so frustrated, was so over it, and then eventually quit the team and just started doing my own thing, or like following my own lane.
What was your first, when did you get into filming?
Well, so filming, Karsten and me did a bunch of like little indoor edits around that Bisping Snowdome, which was cool. We used to call it Friggy Fridays, inspired by Sunday in the Park. Every Friday we'd try to put out a little edit. Probably no one has ever seen them, but to us it felt pretty cool to do something. Yeah, and then I think when I was 17 or 18, I had switched from Atomic to Nitro already, and Nitro was inviting me to join a couple street missions here and there just around the Alps, which was like more accessible to me instead of flying somewhere. That was unheard of at the time for me, to fly somewhere and hit street spots. And then right at the year when I finished high school, Nitro was doing a video called The Road Warriors with Dominic Wagner and Mark Svoboda. Big shout out to those two. Mega shout out actually. Because they kind of took me under their wing. They've been doing it a little longer than me, and I was just like this little grom. I was 18, so it was my first time being exposed to street spots, and we flew up to Helsinki and just got like the first introduction of streetboarding up there, and it was the best thing ever. It was so fun. I didn't want to do anything else. I felt like this is the place I belong. This is what I want to do.
Amazing. Well, you mentioned Dominic Wagner. We happen to have a guest question from that legend. Here we go.
Hey, Benny, this is Dom. What's up with your graffiti career? Like, I heard back in the days you were out there quite a bit. Yeah, tell us something about that, please. See you guys soon. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Yeah, Dom. Love you too, bro. Yeah. Hamburg is a bit of a different place for sure when it comes to street life, I guess. I mean, it's cool where we lived. It was a safe place and everything. We were just out in the suburbs. But I was definitely exposed to some gnarlier shit too, or some shit that you just see in like bigger cities. And I had a bunch of friends that were skating that were super into graffiti, and I caught a vibe, or like I was kind of into it for a little while. And we're 16, I believe, and just like been tagging on like power boxes or whatever. And then this one evening we tried to take it to the next level. I was like, all right, we're gonna paint this train tonight. And we are like all so super excited. And I went over to stay at my homie's place. It was like 4 or 5 homies staying at his at his place. And we're like, we're gonna go to this train yard tonight and gonna paint this train. But it was a train that was supposed to get in, right? It wasn't there yet. So we're standing at this train yard and waiting for the train to arrive. It doesn't arrive. So we walk back home, super frustrated, super annoyed, like tagging all these power boxes on the way home because we just like had all these cans that we bought and like, fuck, we need to like do something with them, right? And then all of a sudden I see this head poking out behind one of the power boxes like down the street. I was like, dude, did you guys see that? And they're like, no, what? And before I could even tell them what I saw, 4 or 5 huge ass dudes come around the corner just running at us, tackling us down and arresting us, like face to the ground, hands behind the back, just like in handcuffs. So that's a short rundown.
When you say
of my
big dude in
graffiti
Germany, you go to Germany when a dude's big, they're fucking huge, massive.
What age we talking?
It's probably 16.
Whew.
Yeah, that was brutal experience.
Did you go to like jail, or what did they do to you?
Yeah, they locked us up in a cell that night just at the police station. It was a pretty wild experience. And I guess in the car, like on the drive to the station, they already had told us like, hey, you guys can call your parents to get picked up or whatever. I was like, fuck, I don't want my parents to find out about this. I'm just gonna wait it out, Dumbest idea ever. So I got to spend the whole stupid night in the cell. And then they finally found the number of my mom's place, and they called her, and she picked me up at like 7 a.m, whatever, and straight up started laughing. Just looked at me like, you're so stupid, you idiot. What are you doing?
So was that the end of your career?
That's right when it ended.
That was when it ended. Okay.
Yeah.
What was your name?
Yeah, what was your name? That's
like
a good question, Bob.
Yeah.
It was called Hirn, which is HIRN, which basically means brain, I guess. Just the words. Or I mean the letters I thought looked cool together. It didn't really have a deeper sense of meaning.
You were the brains of the operation.
No, I wish.
Well, speaking of brains, we got a good
Iron.
thing we're going to get into here. And this is it's called Run Through a Wall Trivia. Here we go.
Welcome to Run Through a Wall Trivia.
You're fired.
It's a new segment of the show, Benny. It's called Run Through a Wall Trivia, presented by Run Through a Wall Smelling Salts. You get the question wrong, you get a buzzer, and you got to do a smelling salt. Have you done one before?
No, so that's perfect. I get to do like 10.
Perfect. Yep. We'll see. There. We went kind of easy on you, but the idea is that this is kind of like rapid fire. What do you got? 5 seconds.
5
to answer?
seconds, and I'll be timing tightly.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you don't get it in 5 seconds, we buzzer smelling salt, and we keep it moving.
Okay.
We kind of want it to be like semi-fast pace. You know what I'm saying?
Has anybody ever done more than 3 smelling
Yes.
salts at once? Because there's like a shitload of smelling salts.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. But we're good. Everything's USDA approved, organic.
Yeah, this bowl's tripping me out.
Yeah, you're gonna have to run through a bunch. And every time you get it wrong, you gotta crack a new one.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. All right, this is Run Through Wall Trivia. All right, Bob, if you could shut the fuck up for 2 seconds, I'm trying to do a question. Okay, let me just mute. I gotta mute Bob. I'm gonna mute Bob. I'm gonna play God right now. Oh, he's 3. All right, we just muted Bob. We're good. Okay. All right, here we go. The Alpine region of Europe includes Austria, Italy, Liechtenstein, France, Germany, Monaco, Slovenia, and what neutral country?
Switzerland.
That's correct. Damn it. Dominic Wagner has a go-to trick on a down bar. What is it?
There's a few, but it's going to be the back one.
That's correct. Damn it. Okay. Dominic Wagner's birthday is
Oh fuck! I'm so bad with birthdays.
4,
Ah,
3.
I'm sorry, bro. I still love you.
1.
It's in February.
You got
in February.
It's actually
No,
January
January.
6th. You got to hit
Oh
a
my
smelling
God.
salt.
Oh fuck!
Crack it.
Dom, that's for you.
Yeah.
So what do I do? I crack
Just
it.
pinch it, and then crack it, and then give it a sniff. Oh, he went in. He went in. Okay,
Yeah.
diesel fuel originated from experiments from the compression ignition engine invented in 1892 by Rudolf Diesel. What nationality is Mr. Diesel? 5.
I'm gonna say German, but I
that's
missed half of the
correct.
question.
That's
I was
correct.
tripping on the
Okay.
salt.
If you're at a location in France, Germany, or several other European countries, which fast food place lets you order a beer with your quarter pounder?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I'm still
5,
tripping on the
4, 3.
I'm just gonna
2.
say Austria. I didn't even get the question right.
Austria.
The answer is McDonald's.
Oh, what the fuck?
Which shipping company?
Wait, he's gotta hit a
You gotta hit
salt.
another
He's
salt.
gotta hit a
Oh, the
salt.
thing. You're supposed to be in pain while this is happening. Which shipping company based in Germany is part of the Deutsche Post and delivers over 1.6 packages a year to Europe and beyond?
DHL.
That's correct.
Correct.
Wow.
Okay, using sugar, a marble block, a brick oven, a copper kettle, and a rolling pin, what chewy candy was invented in 1922 by Hans Riegel?
Haribo.
Correct.
Boom.
Which German snowboarder was 2004 Snowboarder of the Year?
David Benedict.
Oh.
Okay. This German rock band surely is one of the most successful bands in the world. They have existed for nearly 30 years now, and they're really famous. Their songs include #1 hits like Wind of Change and Still Loving You. They are
5.
called
5, 4, 3, 2.
Rammstein.
the Scorpions.
Oh.
Hit another smelling salt. You got to get in there.
I thought that was David Hasselhoff. Don't the Germans love David?
They
That's
do.
gonna be
love-
embarrassing.
they
I
do
just said
love him.
Rammstein.
Okay.
You kind of
Yep.
look
Gonna
like
go
David
do
Hasselhoff.
Okay, and last question. What is Mikey LeBlanc's first sponsor? This is the unanswerable one. 5, 4, 3,
It's not M3.
2, 1.
The correct answer is Yang Clothing. Obviously.
Obviously.
Duh.
You smack the last one? You got
No,
to
he's
go one
gotta
more.
smack.
Holy.
Yang Clothing. So that was their skunk insurance to make sure that you hit at least one.
What did Yang Clothing make besides like outerwear?
Yeah, outerwear.
Yeah. This one's
Wendy
for you,
Powell.
Mikey.
Throw me that extra. I'll take a hit of that.
Yeah, let's all go.
Let's pop one.
Come on, boys.
Pop them off. Bob, you need one.
Take the platter. All right, you know what I want to talk about? I think this is a fun topic. Totally derailing from your story here. But the well, hang on.
Holy shit.
Oh, that's a good batch. Oh, that's a good batch.
Those things are heavier
good
than I
batch.
thought.
Those are strong.
Actually made for it, just out of curiosity.
I mean, it's for it's like waking up your respiratory system. Hockey players use it. We use it. It's a great product.
out, they put it in front of their nose
So you wake up in the morning and hit this to get focused for the show.
I mean, we hit a lot of them. Yeah, we ripped through them.
Definitely went in on the first.
Yeah, how was your first smelling salt experience, man?
Pretty intense, man. I missed like half of the questions.
Yes,
after.
that's the idea. That's the idea.
Your
That's the
eyes
idea.
opened about 40% higher, more than normal.
Okay, good.
I like how you kept hitting them just as hard too. It seemed like from a distance.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
like,
you didn't back off.
you didn't learn your lesson.
No, bad at that.
All right, let's talk Audubon. Explain what the Audubon is for the listeners that don't know.
Okay, so the Autobahn is basically just the name for highway in Germany. So any part of the highway we call Autobahn. It's just our highway in a sense. And I guess it just has gotten the image of the Autobahn is that one street or one road or whatever you can go as fast as you want. There's no speed limit. So on our highways in Germany, there's just certain parts that don't have a speed limit where you can just go as fast as you want. But then there's parts of the highway where it's like 100 or 120 kilometer speed limit.
So, what do you feel like with the efficiency of flowing of traffic in Germany versus America?
Well, the highways aren't as big, and in the cities, at least, the cities are built a bit more to use public transportation as well. So here, for example, in Salt Lake, there's not so much public transportation. So I guess the roads, they just need to be wider and bigger to fit all the cars, right? It's a city that you have to move around in the car, really. So there's for sure differences. And also, I think the cities in Europe, at least, are a lot older. So back in the days, people didn't have cars. So it was all a bit more compressed or like smaller, just tighter distances.
Yeah, so you don't need a vehicle to go around.
Yeah.
My one observation I thought was wild with the Germans and the Autobahn was like the efficiency of like left lane all the way to right lane, where like the left lane is flying, going like 200 miles an hour, and then it was a little bit slower. If you're all the way to the right lane, you're creeping, and it's like it's just like I remember being like so impressed by the efficiency of traffic moving because of understanding that the left lane is the fast lane.
For sure. I mean, for example, when you do your driver's license, you have to hit the highway on the exam, or like on the test day. And for example, if you stay in the middle lane for too long, you're not gonna get your license. You're gonna miss, right? Or how do you say, like, you're not
fail?
Yeah, you're gonna fail, exactly. So the idea is just to stay right the entire time. So technically on the furthest right lane, but if you want to overtake someone in front of you, you go to the middle lane. And if you're on the middle lane, you want to overtake that person, you go to the left. But you're not supposed to stay either in the middle or the very last left lane.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically the rundown or the concept of the Autobahn.
It makes for a lot less traffic.
There's a lot of
because you don't have to worry about someone passing you on the right.
Yeah.
You only ever get passed on the left.
Yeah.
Where here you just get passed any lane, really.
Yeah, that's kind of sketch when people pass on the right. That just
It's super common here. I mean, people don't have the level of respect, and you guys also flash your lights when someone's like,
True.
and you pull over. It's
True.
not like an ego thing. You just get out of their way, right?
It's pretty aggro move though. I personally don't like to do it. Just like get really close to the person in front of you and flash the lights. It's like, oh, come on, like take it easy.
I do it all the time.
I remember the first time you came to the States, or at least from when I met you, we drove from Salt Lake to Minnesota, and you were tripping because you were like, I haven't been in the car longer than 2 hours or 3 hours. Like, where are we going?
Yeah, that was I remember that trip very vividly. That was a long ass drive. I mean, to me at the time, I think the longest drive I've ever been on, for sure.
How long is that drive? Like 18 hours or some shit?
And the weather was super shitty, so it was so slow moving.
Yeah, and we had like 35 people or something. So imagine that, like every hour, like, can we take a pee break? Can we get snacks? It's just we're not making any distance.
Now I want to run back because you rode for Atomic. How'd you get on Nitro?
So Nitro, I got on when I was 16 after being on Atomic for like 4 or 5 years. And Nitro at the time was just, it's a German company, which is super sick. And they're still privately owned, so it's very familiar and very personal at the brand. And it was just south of Munich, where the headquarters are from. And I met the guy that was doing the team for Germany. And he's like, "Hey man, like we're trying to build this team with a bunch of like up and comers. Would you be interested in joining?" And at the time, I was trying to be super loyal with Atomic, and I know I loved what they had going. They were called Atomic Mafia back in the days, and I just felt very at home there. But the program started to slowly fade out. They were not stopping yet, but they're like doing a little less. And Nitro was just going off. They had team shoots, all this, and I felt like, fuck, this is probably a better home for me because I can keep boarding. There's more happening, and ultimately that got me to the point where I was invited to go on my first street trip. So I'm super thankful, or super glad that I made the switch, I guess. Yeah.
Killer. I love that. I think that's a thing that's cool to talk about too, is coming up as a Euro versus coming up from the States. Do you feel like it's harder coming up being from Europe and trying to quote unquote make it?
I mean, to quickly answer the question, I'd say yes. But I guess it's you have to define like what's making it, I guess.
I mean, make it on, dude, like the global pro team, for example, if that's what your goal is, right?
Yeah. For sure. I think you have to, there's so many crews in Germany or in the Alps or in Central Europe that had a lot of good stuff going on and a lot of cool things happening, but on a bigger scale, I'd say, like internationally, it was pretty hard to break out of it, I'd say, because the industry, quote unquote, is here, the biggest industry. The country is so big. There's so many people, so many riders, and the market just overall is so much bigger here in the US, I think, or North America. So to me, like I always felt very connected to the snowboarding that was happening in North America, you know, street snowboarding. Like, I mean, the videos Mikey has been in like 20 years ago, you know, that was the stuff that first really, you know, I connected with compared to the stuff that was going on in Europe. So I always tried to do the type of snowboarding, I wanted to do the type of snowboarding that was going on here. And then, a few years later, I found a very, very cool platform where I was able to showcase a little bit of my snowboarding on an international level, I guess. And maybe we can get into that too in a bit.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and talk about one of our sponsors, Bubs Naturals. You've heard us talk about the collagen. Big news here. Bubs Naturals has Hydrate or Die. It's an electrolyte drink mix. It helps you hydrate and recover quickly with no added sugars. There's over 2,000 milligrams of powerful electrolytes from nature, not from a lab. It's currently available in 3 flavors, lemon, orange, and USDA organic coconut. There's 5 times the electrolytes than a normal sports drinks, 6 natural ingredients, no sugar added, vegan, 100% NSF for sport certified. Basically, the thing that's amazing is you drink a little bit of water on a daily basis, you throw some of this in there. I drink like 2-3x the water. I just chug water. I'm staying hydrated out here thanks to Bubs Naturals. Hydrate or Die. And we got a special announcement. Anyone that uses promo code BOMBHOLE, BOMBHOLE, all caps, on bubsnaturals.com will be prompted to receive a free exclusive collaborative mug at checkout while supplies last. So head on over to bubsnaturals.com, get yourself some collagen, some electrolyte mix, and use promo code BOMBHOLE at checkout, and you will get a free mug. All right, we're back. We also got a special announcement. Our runner of show, our producer, Silk D. He's got his own camera angle now. Let's give a round of applause for Silk D.
Silk.
It's kind of makeshift, but we're gonna have the Silk angle from here on out. He's the guy running the show back there. Silk, how you feeling?
Feeling good.
Love that. Okay, Silk angle's on the scene. All right, where were we? I think we should get into. I'm curious how you made it into the Given videos.
Yeah, that was a really, really sick coincidence in a way. So I had met Keegan when I was 16. There's like a Groms TV event at Mammoth that I got to go through my Sessions sponsorship that I had when I was a kid. And so I briefly met Keegan back then, and then him and Forrest were coming through Munich for this Air and Style Rail Jam they had in 2010, I believe, and that was my first year like filming street stuff up in Finland and like bouncing back between Finland and Munich. So I run into him and he's like, "Yo, like I think we know each other," and like start briefly talking like, "Were you in Mammoth?" Like, "Yeah, man. Like I think I know you too. Like, what's up? Like, what are you doing?" And obviously, like I was a big fan already. He had just had that Burton part in the Burton B movie, I believe, or that was called Burton B, I think.
When he front boarded that huge kink rail into the woods?
Yeah, and I think he also did this super sick back blunt 270 on this closeout or front. I can't remember, but it was very impressive boarding, and I was like definitely like super hyped on his stuff. So he was at this rail jam, and we're talking. He's like, "Hey, like I think we're gonna go to Helsinki next week. What are your plans? Have you been there?" And I was like, I've actually just been there. And he's like, "Well, do you want to come with? We're filming for this project that we've just started, and we'd love to have you." And I'm like, what? Like, really? You're just asking me like these American, like in my head, like superstar snowboarders, you know, that I'm fanning out on, asking me to come on a trip? I'm like, yeah, I would love to, you know. So I went with them, and then ended up like filming for Given 1. So big shout out to Keegan and big shout out to Butters for having me on this trip. That was huge for me. That was huge.
Special time. So what's the chronological video part B-Herbs timeline look like?
So the very first one would be, I guess, Nitro Road Warriors. Then Given, if you can call it a part. I mean, I had some footage in there. Then some Ice and 7 stuff, more Nitro stuff, leading up to 2032, where I ended up meeting Meyer. on this trip to Germany, to Europe. Oh well, yeah, Germany, Austria, France, and Bulgaria. Into more Nitro stuff, into Vans videos, and then doing our own thing. Yeah,
Let's talk 2032. That was fun.
that was cool. Yeah,
We filmed for the same video, guys.
You were in that?
Yeah, I was in it.
I don't remember that part. I remember Benny's part.
Chris had an opener, right? You got an opener in that part.
Bob, I used to be pretty good.
I usually skip first part, so I didn't see it.
That was a hell of a year, though. Fun winter. And then we had a premiere tour that was just devastating for the liver and everything else, right? I mean, you were on the second leg, but we did a 15-day Euro tour. Right?
Yeah, it was a wild one for sure. It was crazy. Joe was on it too. You and Joe.
Yeah,
Holy, that was intense. That was intense 15 days. Holy shit.
we both almost wanted to get checked into a mental hospital because we were drinking every night heavy for 30 days. And this is day 18 when we linked up with these guys.
How was the last day before you went home? How'd you feel?
Dude, I was like an alcoholic. If I didn't drink, I would get the shakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You're I need to take an edge off.
Yeah.
I was fully so not good, but fun. Anyway, great video. Benny has a great part.
Thank you.
I remember the amount of times we went to the premiere and you hear the in between intro songs dee, 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 dee.
Oh yeah. Very repetitive.
It's you have nightmares of that from the premiere tour. No more.
Very true.
No more. Yeah, those were fun times. And then, so what made you go, because you wrote for 32 outerwear and boots, and then you made the switch to Vans. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, getting the chance to film for 2032 as a young European was pretty big, and so I think Joe Sexton was the one mentioning me to Meyer, because Meyer was directing the video or doing the major part of the filming and the man behind the scenes in a way. So Joe wanted to do a POW trip to the Alps. So he's like, well, we should link up with someone from around there. And I think Joe brought up my name in front of Meyer, and I had not met Meyer until then. So they came over, and I linked up with Joe, Meyer, JP Walker, and Harrison Gordon. And
Fire crew.
that was so fucking cool to be in the mix. And then, the trip went well, and I connected with Meyer, and Meyer was actually the one asking me to film for VG the year after. So another huge shout out. I mean, there's so many people to thank, but Meyer is a huge one for making it happen in a way for me, to be exposed to the international snowboard scene or the North American snowboard scene, I guess, and giving me a platform, to be part of. That was sick.
What was the video after 2032, the VG video?
It's called Visitors.
Yeah, that was Visitors.
VG Visitors.
Sick. Heater. And then that wasn't Real Snow year, was it?
No, Real Snow was, I think, 2 years later. 2 years later.
How'd you like filming for VG?
It was cool, man. I mean, VG, or filming for VG and hanging out with Meyer, filming with Meyer, made me decide to come to Salt Lake and actually post up and live here for a little while. Yeah, it was cool. It was a great time. I wouldn't change anything about it.
So we're talking video parts. Knut, who is, I don't know, what is his role at Nitro? He's a legendary human.
He's the man that does it all, everything.
Yeah.
So all your kids direct message all your sponsor me tapes to Knut Eliasson.
Hit him with the DM. Lots of DMs.
Personal account.
He's looking to sign a ton of athletes, but he has a great guest question here. Here we go.
What up, Bombhole? What up, Benny? Yeah, I'm on a trampoline. And I got a question for you, Benny. How many video parts have you had? You've had more video parts than most. And how important and how relevant is a video part today? What's your thoughts on that, dude? I got my opinion, but I know you got your opinion. Benny, hyped you on the bomb hole. Can't wait to listen to the rest. Now, back to trampolining. Woo!
Yeah, Knut, love you, man. Big shouts. Thanks for the question. I honestly had to think about this. I don't know how many video parts I had, because there was a phase where I was just like working on projects for several different brands or like companies that I was writing for, and they're not necessarily in my head at least considered as full video parts. You know, I take a good chunk out of my season to focus on, let's go to Japan for 2 weeks to film on this Vans Europe project, and I'd get like a handful of clips or like 6 or 7 clips or whatever that went in there, and then I did several of those projects, but wasn't necessarily committing an entire season into a video part, which thinking back would have been nice to see it all in one place, but I guess it's just what companies, you know, were asking the writers to do. So I hopped on board, and that was just what was going on for me. So, I mean, video parts, it must be like around 10-ish, I'd say. If you'd say like if a real snow part is a video part, you know, for example, a real snow.
Did you reuse the footage in something else though?
Yeah, sometimes. We're trying to be aware of not over like double using things too much, but we'd use like a clip or two again, for sure.
And then part 2 I liked was he was kind of asking what is the importance of video parts in this day and age? Are they relevant? Things like that, I think is what he was asking.
Yeah, true. So the second part of Knut's question, for sure, I think video parts in my head are super important. I mean, it's like an artist releasing an album, right? So you ultimately get to show everything about your taste, your approach, your spot selection, your tricks, your music, like what you stand for, what you really want to showcase, and what you want to contribute to snowboarding, right? Which is so much more than just having footage somewhere. So, I mean, people don't think it's important, but to me, it's one of the most beautiful things in snowboarding, like watching someone's video part. I think it's the most, to me, most important and most beautiful thing in snowboarding, video parts.
I have a question now. I like to talk about on the show. We talk about the opus, which is your like your beautiful part, the one that you want, that you lust after, that you dream of. Do you feel like you filmed your opus yet, or do you feel like it's still in front of you? Where are you at with your opus?
I don't have it yet. I don't have it. I mean, I wish I would had committed full seasons into filming a video part, where I think, I mean, if all this footage would have gone into one, that might have been as good as I can do it, you know? But just how circumstances were, I didn't have that opportunity, so I definitely do not have it yet. I'm going to try to work on it. We'll see if I get the chance to in the future, but yeah, maybe. Let's see.
Now, listen to you describe the video part. It seems like you have a particular taste of what makes a good video part, the intangible flavor that goes into the cauldron that is the video part that you love, or the video that you love. What are the ingredients to a fire seggy?
Dude, I mean, there's so many ways to go about it, but I mean, personality, you know, like your video parts, for example, I've always been a big fan. I've loved them because there's always so much personality in it. And then, of course, the writing speaks for itself. But I feel like the foundation of like the personality that shines through with, of course, the spot selection and the trick selection on the spot selection is really important. Like, I don't necessarily care about the hardest trick being done. I just like something that speaks to me, you know, something that, you know, like gives me a feeling where like, oh my God, that was so steep, or like that was it, you know, like so jealous of that spot. And then on top of that specific trick, like kind of what Dan was talking about the other episode, that puts it down. That's it.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of interesting looking at the evolution of snowboarding, because you look like early days of video parts, it's just like big jumps. They're shoveled like shit. You know, people are flying off of stuff. Like rails are just kind of like, you just like go down them. And if you make it to the end, they're good. Then it's like things are getting bigger and bigger and more tech. And it's just like hard. There's an era of like, just do the hardest trick on the rail. Doesn't matter what you're wearing. It does just like hard tricks. Doesn't even matter if you do it well.
Yeah.
Just like do a hard trick and go to the end. And then it kind of went like breezy, where you're going roof gap to like landing on a fucking bobcat. You know what I mean? Like you're talking renting heavy equipment to put a 40-foot pile of snow in a landing, when you're like, okay, maybe we should dial it back down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get into like, I would say Vans is maybe the leader in the trend that we're seeing now, which is like kind of almost like less is more. Would you agree with that? Kind of like simpler tricks done tastefully at great spots with good style.
For sure. I 100% agree, and I've got to be straightforward and honest. Like in the beginning, like let's say 7 years ago or so, 8 years ago, it was kind of hard to wrap my head around that. Like, why to make it easier, right? Because like in a way, it's like, oh well, like this is a sick spot. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the flat. Let's just use a winch, right? Like, cool, let's do it, right? But it doesn't really speak to too many people, I think, because it's like so not approachable. And I love the trend of something that's a bit more approachable for people, right? Like looking for natural speed stuff and making it easier in a way, but also way more challenging, because finding something that has natural speed, for example, is way more difficult than just hitting a rainbow that's in a flat, right? So I kind of love the trend, and I also love the challenge in itself, which I've tried to apply in my snowboarding lately quite a bit. And I hope it shows, because I've definitely been on the winch and bungee program for a while, and I just like snowboarding with snow and in hills way more these days.
So are you a spot approach guy? Are you a Google Maps guy? Are you a geographic-y, like, oh, this has got some hills? What's your program there?
I mean, I used to grow up going on snowboard trips where there's no Google mapping really, or no street view. So I'm like kind of OG with that, I gotta say. And I like the feeling and the creativeness of getting to a place and like working your way around with just getting there. It's so much more exciting than like, oh shit, like let's go to this town, take a left here and a right there, and I already know what's there. It definitely helps to have pins. I do it too. I map, like an evening before we go on a trip, but I definitely wouldn't spend all summer just mapping, because it kind of is not that exciting for me. And I love the feeling you get showing up to a new place and just like finding something is fucking the best. You get there and like, oh, like what? We come up on this, and then you're so fired up, and snowboarding feels so much more fun too. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. The thrill of the hunt is awesome.
Exactly, yeah.
It's nice to have a blend these days, I feel like, because when you go on those rail trips and you're just driving in circles, I've been on trips with you, Mikey, where you lose your sanity. And every corner we turn, you're like, handrail, handrail. Everyone in the car's looking around like, whoa, what? There's a rail? There's a rail? Yeah. Where Google at least takes you to a spot, and then on the way, you're like finding some shit there. Yeah. So it kind of keeps the crew sanity,
Yeah. True. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
How's going on a trip with Bob?
Dude, I mean, same as doing a podcast with Bob. It's hella fun.
We've had lots of good trips together. Something I will say, like, Benny is always so stoked on the photo that, and maybe this is like a European thing as well, but I feel like Europeans and yourself included in this are always so stoked on the photo. So like you'll want to work on the photo. You'll be like, oh, let me see the photo. Okay, I'm going to do it like a little bit better. Oh, like maybe if I change this, like we work together. It's a pretty collaborative process. And I feel like in this day and age, I mean, this is probably just my perspective as a photographer. It feels like nobody really gives a fuck about photos anymore. So it's nice when you go out with people that want to get a photo. The shit's dope.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you ever experience it differently?
Differently with what?
Well, like to me, I was going to say like, to us, like growing up with Dom and Mark, like boarding, it was kind of just as important, right? Like we'd do tricks over again just to get the photo and like, do it a little bit more different, like focus on like, I don't know, like towards the end of the spot or whatever, like you're shooting at the end of the spot and you really like focus on pressing it like super hard at the end of the rail, for example, and that kind of stuff. So I guess it's just like the way I was like growing up or like getting introduced to snowboarding and filming and shooting.
So the photo was equally as important to you as
I think so, yeah.
Filming, yeah. I can feel that.
Have to disagree on that, but that's good stuff. Good stuff.
It's hard to get a nice frame of Grenier. I'm sorry. He stopped calling me. Maybe it was my fault, but I mean, I'm going to say it's his fault.
Oh, I lost his number real quick. I was way too big time for Bob. I couldn't be
I was just like, yo, can you like button up that stee a little bit? Like, can we get a good photo here? I mean, I've been shoveling for hours.
The best move is when you're like, there's like some big ass filmer in frame or something, and you're like, the photog's like, hey man, after you land it, will you go back and you mind hitting it a couple times to get the photo? And you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I got you. You land the trick, you're like, dude, I am not hitting that no matter fucking what. You can't pay me to hit that. I'm not going back up there. I just got my shit. Yeah, that's how I operated. Mm-hmm. What's this with you split boarding with the bungee, Canute? Canute, give me some intel about you going split boarding with the bungee.
Splitboarding with a bungee? What is he talking about? Oh,
Splitboarding with a bungee. That's
Okay.
the note he gave me.
okay. Well, that's not technically correct what he's saying, that I splitboarded with a bungee. So Nitro did this trip to the Lofoten Islands in Norway. I think that's what he's talking about. So we're doing the splitboarding trip to Norway. I've never splitboarded in my life before. We show up, the conditions were absolutely terrible. First day, we hike up, or like we ski up. We ski up this crazy peak, which was so gnarly. Like I was looking at everyone around me like, is this normal? Is this okay? This seems so sketchy. This is so dangerous. People turned around like, this is too crazy. But I saw Brian, Knut, Bob, they're all in front of me, like on the top, I guess, on the peak already. And like, oh, this looks insane. The light is hitting so beautifully up there. Like, I got to make it up there. So we go up there and just have this insane view of the islands. And, you know, the mountains basically come straight out of the ocean. It's so gorgeous up there. But at the same time, it was the worst splitboarding experience, or like, I've ever had. I think I splitboarded maybe once after that, and that's like 6 years ago. So that was a crazy introduction. So I was like on that trip, like, okay, I'm not going to do this stuff for like the next 10 days while we're here. And then luckily, Basti Kuhn, big shout out to my homie from Germany. He works for Nitro. He drove up there from Germany to Norway, to the islands, with the RV, and he luckily brought a bungee. And there was like a couple really cool looking spots in that little town down there. Like, fuck, like the weather is shit, the conditions are shit, and we really don't want to go splitboarding. Should we just hit this spot, you know? It's like this big, cool-looking yellow tank. Bob was there. We're shooting a front blunt stall, I think. It was super fun, but it's like a bungee spot in the flat where we just talked about it. But it was kind of like, let's save the day and do something cool or like something fun. So we ended up doing that. So I think that's what Knut's relating to.
Did you hit the spot on a split board? I like honestly can't remember because nobody had regular boards, right?
I think it was a normal boat, but could have been kind of sick actually to hit on a split board.
I got a hard-hitting question for you. Did the blading help with the splitboarding when you were going up? Is that like,
dude? I wish it didn't. It didn't help anything.
Didn't translate.
He put some butter on those skins. That Lofoten trip was the shit though, because it rained a lot, but it was wild because everybody showed up and over half the people had never splitboarded. And that day you were talking about, I remember it was like solid ice, like the scariest shit going up. And Knut's just dragging all these people up that have never been splitboarding. It's so fucking icy. People are almost just like sliding backwards down the hill.
Exactly.
And he just has like 80 pounds on his back. He's just like, come on, guys, let's go. This is awesome. Boom.
Knut's a beast. You know, he can do it, but half of the squad couldn't really do it.
There's a lot of broken splitboards on that trip. Maybe focused on purpose so that they didn't have to splitboard again.
Could be.
It's
Yeah.
not for everyone, you know? Like you say, it's for people eating granola, crunchy people. Yeah. Griff loved that trip.
that really probably sparked Griff's splitboarding love, I'd imagine.
He was a god out there.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, in that moment, I'm terrible at fucking splitboarding. I looked like half decent, like I knew what was up.
I can only imagine the amount of unsolicited advice happening going up the skin trail from Griff.
Just breathe. Keep breathing. We'll get to the top. It's going to be beautiful up there.
Have some raw cashews.
Enjoy the journey.
It was beautiful up there, though. It was worth the squeeze.
I'm sorry. I don't know where the hell you guys are even talking about. Like, what? Where is the exact region?
Lofoten is in Norway, so it's super far north,
okay,
and you drive from these islands to islands, and there's the fjords, and then from the fjords, the mountains just shoot out.
So this is probably super late spring or something?
Yeah. It was really pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like around this time of the year, like end of May or something. The days were so long. Like you could split board or hit spots with split boards, depending on what you're up for, to like 11 in the evening. It was sick.
Damn. Seems like you guys got a good vibe over at Nitro. You guys do fun team trips. You got Knut. You got Bob. You work over there?
Yeah.
What's your role?
Photographer guy, you know.
Is he a team manager, Benny?
Sort of team manager.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of things.
How's he doing with that?
You're doing some L1 stuff as well, right?
L1 team managing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is he as a team manager? Does he get you the product you need?
Well, I haven't asked Bob for any product yet, but the other time I was here this year, he hit me just like, "Yo, you got to come over to the foundry. I got a board for you." So he's taking care of us. He's taking care of
Give
us.
you a raise yet? or
Yeah,
what?
what's going on? What's up with the DocuSign? You hitting you with a good DocuSign?
No, not that yet. We might need to talk about that
Yeah.
soon.
I have nothing to do with the contracts.
Oh,
just
you
so
don't?
know that.
Okay.
That's what they all say.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Just pass the buck off to the next guy.
Yeah, that's Canute. You got to talk to Canute.
Yeah. Yeah. Turn him upside down, shake some money out of his pockets. All right, this is sorry, we're
getting
derailing.
awkward.
We're derailing. And I forgot to mention, you guys also have a pro model together over at Nitro. You and Dominic Wagner. And I was wondering, first of all, congrats. I know that was a few years ago, but second of all, what inspired the graphic?
Yeah, we like to call it the bro model because we kind of came up with it together, and it was cool. It was, for us, it was such a big step, I guess, because I don't think any of us was like expecting to get a board anytime soon. So we're like, oh, fuck, like we're getting this opportunity. Let's come up with something cool. And got to be honest, we're like, I think FA was just getting started, and we're pretty inspired by some of their stuff. So we didn't necessarily bite something, but we're just heavily inspired by it. And heavily.
So you and Dominic Wagner, it seems like you guys have been connected at the hip for a long time. What's your job? Why are you guys such good boys? Why are you guys always filming together?
Well, I think there's not that many people that were so committed to filming snowboarding where I'm from, or especially around the Alps, and that kind of spoke the same language on the snowboard. So we just try to keep it going ever since, like we connected on the very first trip we're on, and it was just working out. Like, he's kind of a person, he doesn't give up, and I kind of applied that same mentality, and we're just feeding off each other and realizing like, holy shit, like we're pushing each other very healthy and we're getting stuff done, like I was there for a lot of the stuff he's done and vice versa. So we just realized, hey, this is like a winning team. This is functioning. Let's keep it going.
Mm-hmm. I asked him the same question. He said, we're both obsessed with snowboarding, and I think we both have a good work ethic. And this kind of sounds very similar to what you said. Were you there for that Psycho C-Rail ender in Hexagon this year?
No, unfortunately, no. I was I had a pretty short season last year. Not this winter, but the year before. I filmed for Hexagon, and I blew my knee end of January. So that was kind of a crazy experience. So I sadly didn't get to go on any trips after that, and I think that's one of the last trips they did in the season. So couldn't see it happen, unfortunately.
Did people go crazy at the premieres when that thing hit?
Oh, for sure. That was like unheard of.
Yeah.
That's so fucking sick, that clip.
Crazy clip. Well, we've been kind of bouncing around, but we never talked about real snow. So I want to hear about your whole situation with that. Were you stressed out when you got the call? What was your approach?
So the year I was doing it, I was living in Salt Lake City, actually, at your crib. I was renting a room, looking into the season, like, hey, I'm here. I'm going to be riding a bunch of Brighton, going to be filming around, thinking of filming some stuff with Vance, some stuff with Meyer, and then eventually I got the call that I could do real snow, and that changed everything, right? Like, you get the call around October, and then you think about like, oh, like, where do we go? What can we do? Like, what's possible with the budget we have available, and where's the snow and whatnot? So it was definitely like a crazy approach, knowing that you have to be done so damn early, like mentally too, and physically, like getting prepared, I guess, and feeling good on your board, because you want to get started as early as possible, right? I think we got our first clip around 2nd of December or something. And you want to be feeling good, right? So I was just hitting the spot with JP, big shout out, and Jeremy Jones for letting me shred up there back in the days. It was beautiful, beautiful time. Just boarding there and then traveling to places from here. So I'm a German dude that lives in Salt Lake and just flies around the world to film real snow. So that was a pretty crazy time of my life.
Absolutely. Who'd you film it with?
I filmed it with my bro, Alex Pfeffer. Can we get a super horn?
Oh, you want
the
the super air horn? Okay.
That thing is so wild. We've gone through a lot on these trips, and I mean, he's a huge part of I guess, my snowboarding life or snowboarding career where I am right now, because he's gone through, we have the saying like through thick and thin. Can you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've gone through thick and thin together. So I filmed it with him, went to Canada in December and to Japan for all of January pretty much. And it was, as I said, yeah, pretty crazy time of my life. And also the pressure that was applied by having to be so done, done so early. That was pretty intense.
Dude, that part's fucked up.
Yeah,
Did you watch it today, Mike?
Watched it this morning again, and it was mind-blowing. Still stands up, all of it. It's just amazing.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Loved it.
Yeah, the footage in that was insane. I remember you called me for one of the clips in it.
Yeah, dude.
Switchback lip.
Yeah, the switchback lip. I don't think I'd probably ever do a switchback lip on a double kink again in my life. That was so crazy scary. But I felt like that was a clip that I still needed in the mix. Like I really went about, that was like such a conceptual part in a way, like, because you only have so much time to film it and you want to make sure there's a healthy variety of like rails, kinks, tricks, bigger stuff, smaller stuff, tech stuff, wall rides, airs, like just to like fill everything in these 90 seconds you have. So I mean, imagining finding all these spots in like 8 weeks, like 6 to 7 weeks in total of filming, that was pretty intense. But it was cool to just be able to focus on the stuff you really want to get instead of just getting clips to get clips. I mean, we all know how it works on these trips, right? You're like, oh shit, this is like the last trip of the season. You're going out for 2 weeks or whatever, and you haven't gotten much this year yet. So I found myself just writing something to get something. I don't know if that ever happened to you. And like, why the fuck did I even hit this spot? I don't even like it that much. So I think having the opportunity to focus on just getting stuff what you really want to do is quite special. And it's pretty hard to get to the point in snowboarding, but that's ultimately what I'd love to do in the future too, if my sponsors are down for that and backing me, because that's pretty expensive, right? To be able to be so picky and go to these places and like, nah, I don't feel this spot. I'm not gonna board today. Not gonna board. Gonna try to find more like better things or things you're really into, and that's super time consuming and it's exhausting too. But in those 2 months, we only focused on doing that, and I think that's what ultimately made the result how it is. I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you got second place.
Yeah, got second place.
You get some cheddar biscuits?
No, dude, unfortunately not, man. It was
What?
I wish.
Red Bull give you some bread?
Yeah, Red Bull hooked it up. Red Bull actually helped me out with all the travel cuz there's like only a certain amount that you get from ESPN to do it. Mm-hmm. And we kind of went in like we just like, fuck, this is a crazy opportunity. I've never had this kind of opportunity in snowboarding before. Alex was like kind of a big thing for Alex too. So we're like, let's just go in on this one. Let's just like whatever it costs type vibe, but let's just, let's go places because we want to go places. Yeah. And Red Bull hooked it up and helped me with some travel. And then, all the ESPN stuff pretty much went straight to Alex. So that's how we were able to spend like 3 weeks in Canada and a month in Japan.
I really like the production on it too. Like the edit was so fire, but also like the crinkled paper with the projection. Like it seemed like that would have taken way longer than 8 weeks to film and edit and produce. It's just a piece of art. It's beautiful.
Thanks, dude. Well, that part goes to Alex. He killed it. Of course, we like directed it together. Co-directed it, but he did all the hard work and the editing bay while I was already back here, just like shredding the Freedom Frontier with Chris.
True, that was that year. I remember you sent me the switchback lip on the kink, and I remember like you texted to me, and I slow-moed it and texted it back to you, and I was like, "We're good, it's fire."
Yeah.
But I like what you were saying earlier about just being selective and just getting good tricks. I'm a firm believer, and I'm not a person that does this, but like one banger is worth like 20 fillers.
Dude, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely, man. I 100% agree, but it's just so hard to get to the point. I find myself in these situations where it's so hard to hold back, because you want to shred and you want to get stuff and you never know if it's going to be good until you try, right? Like it could be this easiest, most simple spot, but if you end up like it's feeling good and you end up doing something cool, then you might love the trick. But just to say like, nah, like I'm gonna chill today, I'm gonna like walk around and check for other spots, that's pretty hard to do, I think. Or to me, like when I'm on a trip, I want to snowboard. Like I want to be efficient, I want to be productive. Like I have this momentum. But so it's getting really difficult to choose your battles and be very specific at what you want to get, I think, or for me at least.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Louis does a good job of that.
Oh man, he's
like
the goat.
Like everything he hits, he never hits any dog shit spots.
No man,
everything he hits is kind of fire.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah, but the hard part is you got to keep your confidence up, right? Like, how do you if you're being really selective, you're not snowboarding a lot. Like, I feel like you got to strap in a lot to keep the confidence up. Would you agree?
For sure. And I try to snowboard a lot when I'm back home. Like, I was living in Munich for a good chunk of my life, like the 32 days, for example. Like my early 20s, I was living in Munich.
Munchen,
exactly. Actually, the German would say München. Almost. Yeah, pretty good. No,
yeah, pretty good. Okay, anyways. I'm trying to tell a story here, and
sorry about that, folks. Yeah, my bad.
No, all good. I got it.
So you're in München. Keep going.
Very good. Sorry, go ahead.
So
go ahead.
I'm in.
No, I'm not talking. Seriously, go ahead. We're just the mic's yours. Go ahead.
We're here for you, Benny. Seriously.
So back in the days,
speak right into speak to the mic. It's fine. Everything's ready.
Back in the days in Munchen. What was I even gonna say?
Talking about back in the days in Munchen, really.
Back in
You're
the
Munchen.
days
I mean,
in-
keeping your confidence up, riding a lot.
Yeah. So München is not that close to the mountains as you'd think. It's kind of like a Portland, where you'd have to at least drive an hour. I don't know how close the closest resort is, like an hour 20 or something, from Munich to get into the snow. So I found myself in these situations where I would just end up going on trips and just snowboard on trips, because you come home from 2 weeks of just like a bender of a trip, right? In terms of you're so exhausted, you want to come home, chill, and then 5 days later, the next trip's happening. So you just want to rest up, right? And I'd find myself like getting a new pair of boots, couldn't even break them in before I'd go on a street trip. I find myself like lacing the brand new stiff ass boots up at a street trip. I'm like, something is wrong in my life. And so I decided to move to Salt Lake City for that first VG year. And that really helped me to understand a good balance of being a professional snowboarder in terms of going out to film all the time, but also a healthy rhythm of snowboarding a lot at home. Thanks to Brighton and all the great opportunities you have here in Salt Lake, even if it's just like an hour at Rail Gardens in the afternoon or something. So that was super special to realize it and understand, hey, there is a rhythm like that. You can be a professional snowboarder and go on trips, but also snowboard a bunch at home. So I feel like everyone that lives here, like all the bros, like Sam Taxwood, for example, like good friend, good homie, shouts. He's like showing me how it's done in a way of like how this Salt Lake life works, like how this works. You go on trips, but you snowboard every single day at home, even if it's just for an hour or two. And yeah, I don't know if I should take it this far already, but I guess I'm just going to. So that's what made me realize, like, hey, I want to continue to do this in my life. Like, I want to go out and film parts and be productive and be efficient, but I want to snowboard a lot. Like, I want to feel confident. I want to feel my board. I want to get better in snowboarding in between shooting and stuff like that. So, for some other reasons, I decided to move back to Europe, and then the options get pretty slim in Europe. Where do you want to live if you want to have or apply this in your life? But also have all these other desires, right? You want to live somewhat in a city. You want to like live in a place that's somewhat cultivated, and you want to have a place you feel comfortable and not just live on a countryside close to one chairlift where you can ride every day, right? So as I said, the options get pretty slim in Europe, and then Innsbruck popped up, and I decided to try it out for a year, loved it, and it's like 5 years now. So I decided to stay, and yeah, still there.
And is that what inspired the Moon Park?
Exactly, yeah, dude. You know what actually inspired the Moon Park quite a lot? was the Spot and the Freedom Frontier.
Sick.
I gotta be honest, and I gotta say that living with you in Salt Lake and seeing you weld the rails in your garage and helping you get them all sorted on your trailer and carrying them out there to the Freedom Frontier, that was awesome, dude. And you know, like that's a huge part of the culture, and it's you do something for the community, right? The local community, and moving to Innsbruck and realizing there's not that much of that kind of stuff happening. Not a lot of people that invest their time and their energy, their money, whatever it takes to make these places possible or happen. You know, coming back and seeing all this here in Salt Lake, that really inspired me, and I just felt like I need to do this here. I need to do this. If I'm not going to do it, nobody else is going to do it. So just kind of went in and just did it.
Yeah, explain what it is for people that are unfamiliar with Moon Park.
Okay, so Moon Park is pretty much a DIY snowboard spot, a little hike rail park in the Alps. It's close to Innsbruck. It's on 2,000 meter elevation. That would be 6,000 feet. So like right around our tree line. Is that 6,000 feet? No.
We're at 5,000 here, something like that. City. Yeah, you're probably, that sounds about right. Innsbruck, 6,000 feet. Tree line? Maybe higher than that.
I'm blanking right now.
Because tree line's like almost alpine, so.
Yeah. Well, the tree line is a little bit lower in the Alps than here. So what's the Brighton parking lot elevated?
It's like
7 or 8.
8.5.
Okay, so let's say it's something around there.
Yeah.
Anyways, high alpine. There's snow from October to end of May. There's a road that goes up there the entire year. It gets plowed, so you can access it all the time. And yeah, we just ended up like getting an agreement with the property or the landlord that we can just use it and put a couple rails there for like private use only. I guess that was the agreement. Like no commercial background or anything where I would like financially profit from. It was actually kind of hard to get it going and get the agreement with the dude because I couldn't buy it and it was way too expensive. There's like no way to do it besides just doing like a handshake agreement. Long story short, it ended up working. We built some rails. They're absolutely amazing. They're fun. We got some good hands on it, good help. And man, I'm so happy it worked out. And it seems like everyone that's been up there has been having a good time and enjoying it. So I'm happy that I was able to contribute a little bit to the local community.
How many people are sessioning up there? Like, is it early season like here with the Spot? Like you guys get up there before the lifts are even? I mean, I guess the lifts always run in Europe, but it's an early season thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. So, I mean, there's some glaciers that open around October, but most of the ski resorts won't open until like Christmas time or like mid-December or something like that. So we'd be boarding up there like from mid-October on sometimes, like early November, I'd say, into May. So it's definitely like a pre-season and after season thing.
Yeah. It's cool to see. You don't see that like a lot in the Euroland. Not a lot of Euros are doing like DIY parks as much as here. Like seems like there's a lot of backyard stuff all over in the States. So nice work on that.
Thanks, Doug.
I think it's a good time to maybe name that video part. What do you guys think?
Yep.
How you feeling?
Oh man, I don't know. I really have no clue. I used to be pretty good on that, but I'm not so sure anymore. Let's see.
All right, let's do name that video. We don't have a sponsor for Name That Video Part this week, so it's sponsored by the Bomb Hole. Go to bombhole.com. We got a bunch of new hats. All the corduroys are restocked. We got a bunch of new hats coming. And get yourself some merch. What do you think about that, Silk?
Sounds good.
Perfect. All right, what's your confidence level 0 through 10 on Name That Video Part?
Man, I'm nervous. That's what I can tell you. I'd say a 5.
Hit him with a 5. Okay. How do you feel, Bob?
I think he's going to get it.
You think, yeah?
I'm 10.
You're at 10?
10 on this.
Okay. We did 2.
Wait, 10 for you or
For
10?
you.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, holy
Full
man.
confidence.
Yeah,
Don't fuck up.
what we did
I
is...
try not to let you down, Mikey.
We got a 2-parter. So if you get the first one, you got to get... We'll see. We got a prize pack for you. Here we go. He looks confused.
If you're
I'm confused.
if you're listening to this as a podcast, the facial expression he just made was pure terrified.
I would say bewildered.
Bewildered.
I'm pale.
Let's let him hear it
I'm
one more
pale.
time.
This is a Euro production company, by the way.
I've heard this so many times, but I can't connect it. Oh, I can't connect it. I can't connect it. Oh, that was hard. That was hard.
Alex Tank.
Oh, that's a heavy
Ice
one.
and 7.
Which one was it?
God, I just... I forget, honestly. I'm sorry.
Yo, you got to hit that noise for yourself, too, because you don't know it. There you go.
You know what? I'll do a smelling salt just to punish myself.
The thing is, I haven't watched these movies in forever. That's the problem.
See, I was thinking it was a childhood, like, kind of you burned into your brain. I think that was like 2008 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, you got another chance for redemption. See how you do. I'm excited to hit this buzzer, this wrong horn buzzer if you don't get it. Here we go.
That one, I know, because it's a part that I've watched so many times, and it's a part that's probably kind of underrated for a lot of people, but it's Curtis Woodman in Some Kind of Life, which
That's
is
correct.
one of my favorite video parts of all time.
Sick.
What you just got yourself here is a bomb hole duffel bag filled with bomb hole merch. You got
yeah, thank
mugs, you got stickers, you got smelling salts, you got hats.
Wow, thank you. That's so generous.
Winner.
Love it.
Yeah, winner chicken dinner is what that is right there. Way to redeem yourself.
Oh, man, I'm glad I got to get a second chance on this. Sorry, Alex. I love you.
Yeah, you just disappointed Alex, that's all. Alex isn't mad, he's just disappointed.
Way worse. Way
You're
worse.
from the same part of the world, too, aren't you? Is he from Germany?
Yeah, he is.
Alex?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, just letting your fellow countrymen down.
NBD.
Bro.
NBD.
NBD, yeah.
Just really hammering on Bob.
Yeah, I'm ready for the next round. What's up next?
This is for the listeners. This is Name That Video Part 2. This is for the listeners. If you guys know the video part, comment on the photo of Benny right when this episode comes out on Instagram. That's where we pick our winner. Here we go. Okay, thank you guys for playing Name That Video Part. Off air, Bob, I just heard you're conjured up a great question. I'd love to hear you just fucking fire that one away.
So you were talking about moving to Salt Lake, and I was curious if you felt like that helped your career, because we talk about whether Europeans get the same shine as Americans. Do you feel like moving to Salt Lake really helped you as become who you are today?
Well, I think my motivating reason to do it in the beginning was because I found like this is the right place to be. I felt like I was in the community or amongst the people that were living here, and it just felt like the right thing to do at the time. And as I said, Meyer was like, hey, like he actually recommended it, suggested it's like, hey, what if you just like stick around and like rent a place for the winter, and we can just go out for like day trips from here. So I did it, and I think what really helped is just connecting and getting to know the people here in the industry, which is just very convenient side effect of me wanting to be here anyways, right? Like ending up living at Grenier's house and getting to go to the Freedom Frontier and getting to know Meyer, and he was like taking me on trips. I got to meet other people, so it was just a very organic and healthy situation that I found myself in. But to answer the question, I think it definitely did, and I would recommend it to every young up-and-coming European snowboarder to spend some time in the States if they feel like it, in terms of like getting to know the industry and growing inside of snowboarding. It's for sure a good call to do it. Yeah.
It seems like it bridges the gap between like Euro, like a kind of unreachable Euro person that you don't know, and somebody that's... I'm sure same if Americans go over to Europe too, vice versa.
Yeah.
Not on the same level, but...
Yeah, and also showing up in VG, which is an American movie. Now, how are VGs at the time, like what 2014, I guess, was this era? You know, there's probably huge European movies. We may not see them here because the internet was kind of around. It was around, but I mean, getting in the American movie, I think, was a big thing. But are people viewing VG back in Europe at the time, or was it separated? How is that going down?
Yeah, so there's for sure a big audience for the VG movie. It was definitely, or VG movies, but it was for sure separated within the snowboard community. They would have VG premieres at rail jams, like for example the Frontline Rail Jam in Sweden, and there's other rail jams in the Netherlands where they knew people that are into rail snowboarding are there, so they would have all the videos, like the Transworld videos, for example, like Get Real, where Chris was in. They would have it at the rail jam, and the VG movies would be played there. And then at other premieres, like the Glacier openings, they would, for example, way rather have an Ice and Seven movie or like a pirate movie premiere. So there's like, it was a bit divided for sure, but there was a place for it, big time.
Now, your last name's Urban. Did you change that to be a more marketable street rider, or is that your given last name?
I changed that when I was 6 years old because I knew I was good.
You know, we really like his last name. It's Urban.
I mean, I have to say, the first time I saw you in a mag, I was like, that is the best. I mean, it's the best name ever for what you do.
Dude, thank you. That's cool to hear.
Yeah.
It's well, it's to answer the question. It's a coincidence. My mom's last name is Roux, Roux, French Canadian last name, and my dad's last name is Urban. And my grandfather was born in Danzig, which is now Poland, but it used to be part of Germany before the war. So my theory is that my ancestors are, from my dad's side, more in the eastern part of Germany, like from Poland or Czech Republic. So the name comes from over there. There's actually more Urbans in Poland than in Germany.
Did you feel like that's why you decided to be a street snowboarder, because you knew it would just kind of was more of an urban lifestyle?
Marketing decision.
Marketing decision.
I mean, you started out as a pipe rider, so
yeah, he did move.
Yeah.
I mean, if my last name would have been backcountry, I think my snowboarding would be a bit different.
I mean, you're a lucky Euro. Think about like Ulrich Bodschlatter or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard for us Americans to like even like when there's all those. I don't like Benny Urban's just like it's an easy marketable name.
And it seems like he's from like Philly or something.
Yeah.
Benny Urban. Burps. What about your Instagram name? How'd you come up with that? Burps. This would be a great Instagram name.
I don't know. I mean, back in the days, Instagram wasn't serious by any means. I don't know. I guess it is now, but back then it was just like lunatics and goofy and whatever. Like nobody used it as like right when it started. Nobody used it as like a serious thing, I guess. So I just like my friend Alex Tank, which I let down just a couple minutes ago. Oh man, still getting goosebumps.
Yeah, that's a little soon. For that.
Still hurts.
Your team manager doesn't seem to like your handle very much. I'm noticing.
Gonna get a slap in the face when I see him next.
You know, Benny, we want to talk to you about changing that just to your actual name and adding the snowboarder. Benny Urban, the snowboarder.
Benny Urban Snowboarder. Good stuff. Have you ever thought about approaching Urban Outfitters as a sponsor? Just side question.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of nice, actually.
Yeah. Your vibe goes with that brand for
Nice
sure.
thinking. Like Freddie Perry with Fred Perry.
He tried. He tried. He couldn't get on.
Didn't work.
That's a bummer. I mean, that idea was genius.
Speaking of Urban, though, I do have to talk about. Let's talk fits for a second, because I was going through your chronological.
Oh God.
Order. I noticed. Early days. We're talking slim. We're talking skin tight around the knee. You're talking a very tight fit in the pants region. And I've noticed that
primarily the crotch.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah. All those regions.
Couldn't help but notice.
And then the pants have gotten baggier.
Yeah.
Let's talk fit. So let's talk fit evolution.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of my teammates, which I still love to today, obviously, when I was riding for 32, was Joe Sexton. And Joe had a pretty fire collection on 32. And those pants just happened to be pretty tight around the knees. And I was just running it. That was just what I was down for. And I'm not ashamed of. Like, I definitely wouldn't wear pants as tight these days. But, for that era, I'm not ashamed of it. I look at it like now I look at it as like, ooh, that might have not looked the most convenient or best to like my body dimensions or whatever. But yeah, fuck it. Just we all have that, I guess.
Would you say you're somebody that has a kit crisis? So like before you're going to film, are you looking at yourself in the mirror, changing pants multiple times, putting on different hoodies? Like, what's your vibe with the kit when you're getting ready to go perform?
I go through phases, I'd say. I go through phases. There's definitely been a phase where Joe and me were sending each other photos of like front boarding in front of a mirror with like a different type of pants on. Just kidding. No, there's this running gag. Like we just do that on trips, you know, just like pose up in front of a mirror and like go in the front board position and see how these pants feel or look when we're doing the front board. Not so obsessed with it anymore these days. I like to keep it casual, but I guess I found my fit. It only took like 20 years.
Beautiful. Yeah, Joe is the CEO of Kit Crisis. He is like, you just say one thing to him and he's
he can't get out the door without like looking at himself in the mirror like 20 times, changing his shirt a few times. He ain't getting out the door. He's late every time.
Let's talk about getting on Vans. Vans, that's a huge step. It just seems like from the outside looking in, it seems like it's got a team vibe going, like a family vibe.
Yeah, man, it's really special. It's really special, and I feel so grateful and honored to be able to be a part of it, because all my favorite snowboarders, most of my favorite snowboarders, are riding for Vans, and I feel like they've put in so much work, so much time to get to where they are with the program. And it takes a lot of effort, common effort, with every single person involved to get it to this point. And I think it was like 2014, 2015 season when the the European TM Bruno Revoir, French guy, a lot of shouts today, but he's got to get one. Bruno, love you. Asked me if I want to ride for Vans, because at the time I think there's been a lot of momentum created already in North America. You know, they're putting Kuzik on, they're putting Sam on, Rav was getting on, Ojo had just made the switch from 32 to Vans. And well, to be completely transparent, I was on 32 and I found like I've just found a home. You know, after filming for 2032, like I was exposed to riding and filming in the States with, as I said, Joe and JP. It was great. I felt like, fuck, this is it. Like I'm finally kind of there where I found my path. And I'm a person that I like to stay loyal with the brands as long as I can, you know, and I felt like I just kind of got on 32. Like this was it. Like it's just things starting to happen for me. And then that summer, 2032 hasn't even come out yet. And then Bruno hit me up and was like, hey man, like there's a lot of momentum at Vans and we want to start a Euro program as well. And you'd be one of the first picks. What do you think? And I was like, well, man, fuck, like, dude, I just had filmed for 32, like this entire season, the movie's coming out, like I can't really do it, you know. And then there's like an ongoing conversation for, I'd say, like 4 to 5 months. And then my contract with 32 was up that December after the movie had come out. And I was like, it was the hardest call for me to make the decision, but I decided to go with Vans because they made it sound very, very interesting and a lot of things happening. And for me at 32, I felt like maybe for the future there wasn't as much room for me to grow. So the decision on my end was just made and I did it. So I found a new home at Vans Europe for 3 years, just doing Vans Europe projects. And then of course being in the States a bunch, hanging out in Salt Lake. I got to meet Harry Hagen, another big shout out. We got to do it. Yeah. I mean, you see like how many people in my life, or I think in a snowboarder's life, are important to reach to get to a certain point. And all these people that I've been mentioning are getting shouts today were playing such a big role. Like, of course, I did my job on my end, but there's so many more people that kind of have to help you. Like, they have to get you somewhere. Like, even like when you're filming, you know, teamwork, it needs to be done. Out there by yourself, you just like nothing will happen, right? Anyway, so after 3 years on Vans Europe, I got the switch to Vans Global, which was huge for me. And then I was more integrated in like the Vans US projects and filming with like guys like Sam or Jake, or I mean everyone that's been on the team, Ojo, Cole, it's been such a blessing to experience that and be part of the second year they were doing landline. So that was just huge. And to this day, the trip we did to Germany and Czech Republic for the second year of landline, I think is probably the best trip I've ever been on by far. It was so insanely productive, so insanely fun, and it's just great.
Amazing. We got a guest question from Sam Taxwood.
Ooh.
Hey, what's going on, Bombhole? This is Sam Taxwood, and I just want to say what's up, Mikey, Grenier, and welcome, Benny Urban, to the show. Stoked to see what you guys come up with today for this episode, but I got a little guest question for Benny, and I just wanted to ask Benny kind of what was going through his head the day that we were in Helsinki and he front boarded a quite large hubble edge first try. I was there watching, and it took my breath away, and I just was curious kind of how that process went for him, and hope you guys are having a good time. Thanks. Peace.
Thank you, Sam. Love you, bro. That was a special day, dude. That was special because once again I found myself in a setting of people where, like coming from Europe and made my way like to the States, and then finding myself in a situation where like, dude, like I'm like in front of Oli Gagnon's lens, in front of Harry Hagen's lens, Stacks is at the bottom, and Kuzik's at the bottom. Like you fucking better show up, German boy. That's what was going through my head. So we've looked at the spot forever. I've known the spot forever. Pretty slick down flat ledge with a decent sized drop off the outside, and I was just like kind of tripped out if it's gonna properly slide or not. It was a cold day, but it had this weird paint on it, so I wasn't sure if I should rub break it and wax it or if I should just go with it as is. So after Sam was hitting the spot, but in a little bit of a different way. So after he was done, he got this clip which was absolutely fire. I was up, so I was kind of like just sessioning the bottom part, just like the down flat of the big down flat down, just seeing how it slides, and it felt really good. And it was like time to actually like try it. It's like, fuck, I'm not gonna do a 50 first because the risk is just as high, right? Like I'm gonna actually go for my trick right away. But my idea was to hop on that front board and just give it a little lock and pop over to the drop side, because we put a solid foam pit on the outside. You know how you can just like pop over quickly, and that's the best feeling. I prefer that instead of like just getting my nose on there and going to the stairs. I don't really like that. Anyways, the speed was a little off, and I decided to still hop on it and just got the craziest lock right away. I was like, oh God, here we go. Just like not looking at the drop site where I wanted to go. I'm just like so centered and locked. Like, okay, like better fucking, I don't know, like just go with it and make the most of it, right? All of a sudden, I'm like, what the heck just happened? Did I really just make it to the end? I couldn't even feel anything. It was so absurd. Like, what the heck did that just happen? And then Sam just comes running at me, just smiling, hugging me like, what? Looking at Harry, he's like, what? Looking at Ollie, he's like, what? I'm like, okay, well, let's better peep that footage. Watch the footy, and I was like, actually kind of down for it, Like, I don't know if I wanted to take that risk again or if I could do it even better, right? And then Harry's like, well, like, I don't know, it's pretty good. Maybe I could film it better, but you don't have to do it again. I go, fuck it, I'm just gonna keep it, So literally hit that thing once, and that's the clip.
That's so sick. But if Bob was there, though, he'd have been like, do it again for the photo.
Sorry, I missed it. My flash didn't go off. My flash didn't go off.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready. I was still in the van.
It's too cold.
That's so sick. I love Sam's face running out. He's just like mentally blown away and laughing and cracking up, and that's so dope,
dude. Those are just in like, fuck. That's the best part about snowboarding. that's one of the best parts, like being in the moment. Of course, like seeing the final result, a video part is great and all, but like thinking about that season, for example, that's one of the things that's, that just makes it. That's just very, very special.
Mm-hmm.
Especially having your friends there and just sharing that with, your homies. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while we're on the Vans topic here, Benny, what'd you bring into the office? What's behind your head there?
Yeah, what is behind your head?
Got a little boot, a little Vans boot that might have been designed and curated from this German boy here.
Is that a Beer Urban boot colorway?
That's a Beer Urban colorway.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you got? For the listeners that can't see it, it's
pull it
burgundy
out.
and white.
Let's see
cream.
it.
It's like a cream and burgundy. Pull that thing off the shelf.
Yeah, let's check it.
Sell us on this boot. Sell me this boot.
Why should I buy this?
Why should I buy this boot?
All right, this thing. You want to buy this thing because it's a very comfortable, medium flex boot that works for everything, right? All-terrain vehicle. Of course, the colors.
What's the model?
The model, it's a High Standard Pro. Mm-hmm. It's been around for some years. I think a lot of people are down with it because it's not too stiff. It's not too soft. It kind of does the job for everything. It's got the strap up top. If you want a bit more support, you can, of course, like not use it if you want a bit more looseness. But I'm stoked, man. I got to do this new logo design on the side, which was kind of a mission to get it authorized. But I'm super, super stoked that we get to do it, and I'm pretty happy with the final product.
Let's talk about the power strap on the top. Did you ask to have that added?
This thing, the power strap?
Yeah.
It's been there. It's been there for a while. I didn't get to change too many things on the boot itself. There would have been a couple things input-wise, but I love the boot. Cole had it last year, and I've ridden it all year. I loved Cole's colorway, and I've just gotten super familiar with the boot, so I'm pretty stoked that it's on this one. Yeah.
It's a good-looking boot.
Yeah, I saw you
Thanks,
running
Doug.
some dark laces on the boot too. That looked dope. Does it ship with two colors? Was that just like an upgrade you made?
That was just like some custom
Customization.
Exploration.
Yeah.
But I like to mess around with laces because the boot can come off or can appear so different if you have different type of laces, different colors. We originally had 2 laces planned. I honestly don't know if they will actually be in store with 2 pair of laces, but you can always get a different type lace somewhere.
Where'd you get the inspo for the colorway?
Dude, honestly, I love the retro vintage sports shoes, like the high top leather basketball shoes in the 70s. And we actually had this pretty interesting conversation. I was supposed to like narrow it down in terms of like vibe words. For example, like futuristic or like avant-garde or like vintage or things like that.
With the designer?
With the designer.
Cool.
And I just went like keyword 70s basketball court, New York, Brooklyn.
Dope.
Like
huge bush. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah, so that was a super fun process. I loved it. It was great to be involved in it and having a say in it. So yeah, it's my first boot with Vans. I'm not mad about it.
So that's dropping next fall?
It's coming out this fall.
Dope.
Yeah, November 23
Sick.
drop.
Congrats.
Thanks, dog.
It's huge.
Appreciate it.
Beauty. All right, Bob, what was your question?
Hey, Chris, just how's my audio right now?
Audio level
where's
is good.
Where's the magic spot?
Yeah,
also, I would like to point out too. Do you call them viewers? Did you just spill your liquid death all over your? Hey, Chris, next time if you spill water on that thing again, what is that called?
This is
No,
auto
the
duster.
fancy recording thing.
What's it called? The Roadcaster.
The what?
Roadcaster.
Next time you spill shit on the Roadcaster, you're coming to the dunce table that you stuck me in.
It's a kids'
Look at this.
table.
I'm in the kids' table.
Yeah.
Hit the mic. I'm so excited to be on the bomb hole.
Great job.
What's next?
Oh my fucking God. Jesus Christ, Bob. Silk, how you doing back there? Let's see the silk cam. You throw the silk cam?
Should we
silk
close the door?
on? Yeah, we should probably close the door.
Close the
All right, we're
door.
back here.
We're back at the bomb hole.
We are back at the B hole here. I'm gonna hit another sniffer just to get around the corner here and get this thing done. What do you guys think?
Chuck me one, Chris.
They were
I could hit a freshie.
Let's hit a freshie smell.
It's going to take me from about 72% to 1,000.
Yeah, we're going to take you to fucking 0 to 100.
You
like
jumped through walls after that.
It's kind of like the new snooze, huh?
Yeah, it is.
To
It
snooze
is, yep.
anymore in here.
It's good for the sinuses. Yeah, it's
I
good.
think we need to invent one that makes you shit immediately.
Yeah, that would be good.
Perfect.
Yep.
That would be a great idea.
Run through a wall shitting salts.
Yeah.
Oh, that one burned my eyes. Anyway, look at the table. It's just like
Smelling salt landmine.
at paradise.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about living in Innsbruck because what you got going on there. It's interesting. I was talking to, I don't remember who, maybe Mikey about this, but been all over America, and this is one of the only cities where you fly in and you're in the mountains and you land. And it's similar. I think Innsbruck's probably even more beautiful, and the mountains are shoot up even bigger maybe out of the city. But yeah, how is living in Innsbruck and managing a snowboard career these days?
It's great. I mean, it's kind of like a little Salt Lake, I'd say, for sure. In a European version, it's way smaller. It's way more compressed, but it's cool because you have direct access to several ski resorts right from the city. There's like public transportations, like trams that take you right to the snow. And I mean, you have it all. This like a cultivated city. I mean, nothing against Austria, but it's still in Austria, and it's maybe not as progressive as other parts of the world. But it's just a very, very cool mix, very, very good mix of having a city with a good skate community, good skate scene. You can go out. There's always events, parties, premieres, whatnot, if you want that. But you can also escape to nature within literally like 10 minutes walking, and then you're just out in the woods. And you've got glaciers around like all year round. Could snowboard every single day of the year if I wanted to. So it's a pretty good mix.
Are you getting some money from the Innsbruck Bureau of Tourism? Because it's a pretty good sell right there.
I should, man. They should hop in on Moon Park and help me do some more public free snowboard parks for the city. But I feel like that's going to be a pretty hard way.
That skate park in downtown Innsbruck is incredible. It's like a plaza with the rollers. What's that place called?
Yeah, it's the Landhaus Plaza. You skated that place before?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, dude, I remember.
Beat that place down. Beat it to a pulp.
Dude, you
fucking closed down after I went there.
I remember you pole jammed one of the poles there, like straight up ones.
For Kuzik has a trick in the intro of like Together Forever or something on the mani pad.
Yeah, dude, like a shove mani.
Yep.
Yeah, that was sick. No, I skate there all the time, actually. It's a cool meet and greet. It's great. I mean, it's kind of wild to have. Imagine, like, you can go snowboard in the morning, and then 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, you're on that plaza skating.
That's dope.
There's not too many places in the world that offer that. And for me, it's cool. I'm in love there. I met my fiancée, Elisa, super horn.
Yeah, let's give her the super air horn.
Homie's cooked.
Had to throw in the dolly on top to really put the icing on the cake.
There we go. No, she's probably the one that deserves the biggest horn for sure. She made me stay in Innsbruck. She's a huge part of my life, and I didn't want to live anywhere else right now, and don't want to be surrounded by anyone else besides her all the time. So that's awesome. I'm very, very happy, and we got a good thing going. So I'm excited to see her very soon.
And you recently got engaged?
Yeah, I recently got engaged.
Congrats, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, grown up, I guess.
Yeah, damn, dude. Benny's all grown up. How old are you, Benny?
I'm 31. Whew. I used to be the baby all the time, man. Like, I remember I used to be always the youngest, and now it's not like that anymore. Now there's fucking, like, early, like, 21, 22-year-olds that I end up going on trips with which I love, but it's just funny, like, I was that person, for the longest time.
Yep. Then one day you wake up and you're like, Bob, you're just
old and haggard and lost.
Grumpy. You're still that kid to me, Benny. I still think of you. I was like 22.
Yeah, that's what you are in my head too.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ever go trifecta where you go snowboard in the morning, skateboard, and then blade in the afternoon? Have you
Rock climbing.
Oh, that's
dude. No. I should get those. What are the brain dead? inline skates.
Yeah.
They had this, dude. They had this weekend / brain
I
dead.
watched that. It was
it's
amazing.
Fantastic. I love it.
You know,
man.
the rollerbladers are doing wallies now. I seen that.
Yeah, they rip.
It's kind of fire.
Pretty steezy too, I gotta say. So might need to cop.
Have you taken that butter technique to the streets of boarding? Like, I know you and Dom really like a good rub brick session. Do you finish that with like a nice buttering?
Wax and some butter?
We should bring some frozen butter, man, in the future. Just a little stack of frozen butter in the van.
I
Why
think
not?
It's a good idea. It's a snack too. You know, if you get hungry.
Yeah, Dom and me kind of went pretty deep into the knowledge of how to make a ledge pretty smooth. Yeah, kind of like really went in.
Jibology. We're talking about Jibology.
Absolutely.
Are you on
concretology?
Yeah.
Are you on the ice it up tip? I mean, I've seen that, and I'm like, that just blew my mind. I'm like, I'm not about this. What's your tech?
It depends. If it's like mega cold and if it's kind of a short ledge, I could fuck with the ice technique.
Yeah.
But I prefer to get everything dry, rub rig it till it's butter, then get all the dust off, wax it, or like rub rig it again, maybe get all the dust off, and then wax the hell of it, like, and then maybe put a little bit of snow on it, and then you're pretty good to go.
Can I give you guys the real like hack on this? I mean, this is what people do with curbs. Like, this is what we do at the Freedom Frontier, so the concrete grinds. But it seems like if you really wanted to prepare a concrete ledge, you rub brick it, which is kind of like this block that you scrub the concrete with to make it smooth.
Yeah.
So you rub brick it. And then what I would do is I would spray paint it with the clear lacquer. So that clear lacquer that you can put it on concrete, and all of our edges we hit at the skate park.
Yep.
And it just preserves them. They grind like ice. And then if you were to hit it with rub brick, lacquer, wax, I think you'd have a fucking iceberg sliding ledge. Like, it would be fuego.
I agree, but then you have that ice feeling again, and you want the little bit of
the grab,
not the grab, but like the little bit of, what is it, friction,
resistance,
or traction,
whatever,
friction.
Yeah,
you
friction.
want to feel like you want to have it feeling like a very good grinding curb. So you're like, you don't that, but you're not catching. That's when I feel comfy on ledges.
You don't want it too icy.
No, that's when you slip out.
All right.
I feel like you can see that in the footage too, the way you all rub brick the ledges in your approach. Looks dope.
Yeah, I could see in the Helsinki clip, for example, where you're actually getting some resistance. You're fighting a little bit, so the clip looks dope because it looks like you're actually fighting it a little bit.
Thanks.
It's hard to see in Bob's photos what's happening because they're so blurry and just bad. They're just so bad.
That's why he doesn't get called anymore.
He doesn't get a lot of phone calls. You do call Bob when you need a photo, or do you just try to, is he the last number on the list?
For sure. I call him all the time.
you
I mean,
do?
I'm just not here anymore that often, but I
Who
used
would
to
you
call him all the time.
Who would you call, Bob or Oli? You have to answer.
You're asking me this question?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Dude, you can't put me on the spot like
Direct
that.
That's a great question.
It's weird.
Bob's
that I
just
actually am
Bob's
the
just
person
making
that
big
does
eyes.
contracts at
Hard-hitting.
Nitro.
Yeah.
Bob is in control of covers, just so you know. But like,
He is a photo editor of a magazine.
I think I need to go to the bathroom.
So, yeah. Again, you got to pick one. I love the buzzer, dude. I'm loving the buzzer.
buzzer's sick.
Bob.
We're waiting for the answer, Benny.
Wait, can we please move on here? Can we please move on?
All right,
Next
we're
topic.
moving on. We got some more topics. We got more topics.
So so you brought something up that's interesting. You brought up the 30 to 22-year-olds that you're going on the trip with. You know, growing older or more experienced in a career. You know, obviously you have 8 more years of experience, but I also noticed that you produced a movie. I think it was, I'm going to slaughter the name OASEN. You tell me how it's said, but tell me how you got into that and how it was something you pushed for. I mean, that's a big step.
Yeah. It was called OASEN.
OASEN.
It's a Vans Europe video we've done 3 years ago. And Bruno Revoix, the Euro TM, we kind of talked about it for a while to do a video with like a little crew, let's say like 4 to 5 people in total. And we've just had a good thing going, or we still have a very good thing going at Vans Europe. And we've been given this opportunity to curate, produce, and direct a video amongst the Vans Euro street team in a way. And I was given the task or the opportunity to kind of direct it, and it was really fun. I loved it, man. I mean, I feel like it's just interesting because now it has like a real title, you know, like directed, or we actually called it driven by, because that was a more relatable term, I think, or more, a term that was more fitting. So it was fun because I feel like that's the thing we've all been doing anyways already in a professional snowboard career. I mean, you've done it. So there's just so much that goes on behind the curtains, as a professional snowboarder, but then you get a title on it and you actually get to get credited for it too. So that was one of the movies where I was like, in a way, in charge of making this thing happen and turn it into a snowboard movie, like going on a trips, making sure everyone's getting clips and holding back too, like this person hasn't gone on this last trip and maybe hasn't hit too many spots on this trip yet. So like, I'm happy to hold back because my role is to make sure this movie is going to be a movie in the end and not just selfishly like, oh, I need another clip because I think the spot is sick, So that was a cool learning curve and cool experience to reflect and realize like, oh shit, like it's fine to hold back too, and I'm going to get credited for it because I'm making sure this movie is going to be a snowboard movie in the end.
And did you get to curate some younger riders for that too and just bring people in? And that was always exciting for me. Like when I had the opportunity to make a movie, I was like, all right, I'm going to bring up who I want to be in this, maybe some names that no one even knew, which was fun. So it seemed like you did that too. So
yeah, there was 2 guys that have already been on Vans and already had put out really good shit. Sebi Springat from Italy, there you go, and John Sutta from Switzerland, who was in charge of like basically forming the Escape Snowboard crew, which have been putting out really, really sick videos the last couple of years. So those 2, in a way, got invited, and I was trying to make sure like they're gonna have a presence in it. So happy I got this opportunity and would love to do more such things in the future with whoever is down and willing to give me this opportunity.
Yeah. What about signing for Redbull? We never really talked about how you got on Redbull and how that journey's been.
Yeah, Redbull, I signed with them in 2014, I believe. And that's when things really started working out in terms of, hey, I can focus on snowboarding and not having to work a job or not trying to study at the same time because I wasn't sure which route I want to take and really want to focus on a snowboard career. Because honestly, for the longest time, I didn't really commit to like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to turn this into my profession. Because, I was in Hamburg and then I went to Munich and started studying, went to school, went to college. And then when that opportunity to ride for Redbull came around, I was like, well, I guess like I need to make use of this. Like this is so sick. Like things are happening. I have the funding to go places and film and like actually can do what I want in a sense of like, oh, I don't have to miss this trip because I don't have travel budget to go, right? Because this was what I had going on for the longest time. Like I didn't have enough funding to do what I wanted to do in snowboarding. So I was like studying and doing whatever on the side. So yeah, big shouts for making it happen and in a way like having a healthy career where I could just really started focusing on snowboarding. Yeah.
That's killer. I look at a lot of the other Red Bull people in all different sports, and it seems like they give you the resources that you need to do whatever you want. I know that I've been told that they'll approach riders and be like, what project do you want to do? We want to help you create your dreams. And you see some of the stuff's cool and some of the stuff is kind of corny, but it seems like you've done a good job navigating that space really well as far as like, doing Red Bull stuff and making it look cool and all that stuff.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. And it's not an easy task because, of course, it's a really big brand and the brand speaks to a huge audience. I mean, I'd say a good portion of it is the mainstream and definitely not our core industry. But I think it's important for them to have a place in core snowboarding, which I try to represent, I guess, or I want to represent that. And I'm really thankful that they're backing me and they're supporting this type of snowboarding still to this day. And man, as I said, for example, with Real Snow, they were making sure my travels are covered. So big ups. I mean, I know there's a lot of shit talking on energy drinks and snowboarding, but that's very individual. Everybody has their opinion. But to me, I got to say, without Red Bull, I wouldn't have, in brackets, been able, like made it or like been able to become a snowboarder and live off snowboarding. You know what I mean? Like, so Yeah.
I also love how they seem to take care, like, and I know you have a knee injury, and I saw a post, you're in there, and they have doctors on staff helping you with rehab, like providing that for athletes is really committed to you guys, it seems like. So
man, it's
amazing.
It's incredible. Like, I gotta say, that's for sure like an experience in its own that I've never made use of before, sadly, until I got hurt and really needed it. Like, hey, you should just go to this rehab facility in Salzburg where the headquarters are. And like, whoa, this is sick. Like, I would love to, like working with the best doctors and physiotherapists in the game, like that train Formula One drivers. They have like the G-force machines in there, and you like sitting next to these superstars. And I'm just like, wow, this like random snowboarder. I'm like talking to this fucking mega star over there. So that was really cool, and yeah, I can only say good things about it. They've been good to me, so I'll try my best to do my job on my end.
I refer to it as Formula Ein, actually.
Formula I, there you go.
Formula Ein. Eins.
Can you get us some tickets to the soccer games over there if we just fly over?
Yeah, dude.
I want to fly over in that plane.
I have a question. When you're making a project for Red Bull, what's the music selection like? Because I'm sure they have a Rolodex, and you kind of like are clicking through the songs. Isn't it typically just like just some of like the best music possible in the catalog?
Best music possible. Yeah, I mean, that's sadly because the music labels with the dope shit, they don't want to give away which I understand. That's fine. But so there's this Red Bull Media House. I'm sure you've heard about it. They produce their own projects. So they have this huge library with the hundreds of thousands of songs. It's
all sound the same.
Kinda.
Terrible. I'm sorry, dude. Anyways, all right. That was a tangent.
No, appreciate your honesty and your opinion there. Tell us how you really feel.
Anyways, about those free soccer tickets, Red Bull.
Coming back in like that.
Those are in the mail right now.
Those are in the mail, and they actually took them out of the mail and dumped them out on the.
You're
on the
permanently
counter.
banned for all future.
Bob,
Red Bull
you might need
shoots.
to change your opinion on those songs before you get those tickets.
I'll drink that drink. Give it to me for the free tickets.
Bob, Run Through a Wall Smelling Salts is actually thinking about purchasing a soccer team pretty soon here. So
Who is?
Run Through a Wall Smelling Salts.
Let's do this.
Yeah, so we can get you tickets here pretty soon.
There you go.
You need a kids coach?
Yeah, we need a kids coach. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Bob, you're a good soccer coach.
I wouldn't say good.
Hey, what does the word OASEN mean?
So OASEN is technically it means oasis, just in Swedish. And it's so for OASEN we had a really, really good graphic designer, artist, motion graphicer on board that was involved in a project called Fabian Fuchs. He's worked on polar skate videos in the past. Really creative, really good.
That was about to be an air horn. Sorry.
There you go, Fabi. So we're on a trip. He tagged along on a trip to Sweden with us, and it was like pretty late in the season already. We filmed pretty much everything we wanted to for the movie. And it's like the last trip, so like fuck, we still don't have a name. And then at the very last day, we came across this sick looking sign. It's just like an industrial zone where we're hitting a spot previously, and it said OASEN in the coolest looking font. And we all looked at it as like, wow, this looks dope. Like, should we just run this? And then just did some research on what the definition of an oasis is. And there's a deeper sense, I guess, for street snowboarders, what an oasis is. You just travel to these crazy places in the middle of nowhere. It looks like all grimy. It might be raining. It's cold. And all of a sudden there's just like a piece of steel. And we all get so excited about this. But to a normal person, it's like, dude, let's get out of here. Let's go to the beach or whatever. But to us, this is our oasis, right? So we kind of went with that and decided to call the movie OASEN.
Great name.
That's sick.
It's like a captivating story behind the name. I like that. Let's get into hot takes. Bob, do you know what hot takes is?
I don't
He
remember.
looks bewildered. This is great. So hot takes. We just ask a bunch of questions. We always start off with Michael Jordan or GOAT. greatest of all time, both to you, as it pertains to you, both male and female. Who you got?
Male, I gotta go with Big Lou. Louis Parody.
Good answer.
Bang.
Okay, female?
Female, these days, I mean, it's got us these days, or I guess all time. I think Zoe is probably the best best and coolest professional snowboarder of all time in the female world. I think she's really impressive, you know, seeing her learning curve, I guess, too. And then a couple words about Louis, maybe. I mean, he's been mentioned on this show so many times, but to me also, I mean, I've been following what this guy's been doing and studying his shit since day one, for real. Like, I'm not ashamed of this. It's just out of this world. It's so special. And so, yeah, impressive. Like, big fan. Maybe his biggest.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's sick.
Awesome person, too.
Coolest person as well.
Yeah.
Who's your German goat?
German goat, Alex Tank.
Respect.
Good answer. Doesn't seem like you know his writing that well. You didn't get his video part.
Next question. Bob Plum or Ole Gagnon?
Both.
Oh, he dodged it.
Damn, dodged
Who's the most underrated snowboarder in Europe?
Or of all time?
Well,
In Europe?
I mean, that's one of the questions on here, Bob.
Yeah, but I want to make up my
Bob's
own.
going off script.
I'm a part of this podcast. I know I'm just at my own little side table.
No, that's
you
a
gave
kid's
me a
table.
mic.
You're not really part of the podcast. You kind of like side act.
Go to your
Sideshow
room.
Bob over here.
Go to your room, Bobby.
Bob, do something stupid.
Back to your room, Bobby.
Bob, camera's on. Be funny.
Hey, Chris, mute him.
Yeah,
Just
we can.
me.
Let's mute him. Hold on. Wait, Bob, talk. I got to figure out.
So, anyways, who's the most?
Yeah. So
Yeah, we can't hear
what
you
we're
anymore.
gonna get into here. What I was gonna ask is actually who's the most underrated. I think you could go. You can go Europe and American if you want, or either. Which one?
I think
Bob's muted. You don't have to worry about anything. You can't say anything. You can't hear him.
it's going to be the same question for me because one of my friends, his name is Niels Arvidsson. He's from Europe, and he's internationally known. But I think he's the sickest shredder. He's so fucking good. He's so fucking cool. I love him. He's so fun to have on trips. He's incredibly skilled and doesn't get the shine that he deserves, I think.
Great answer.
Awesome.
Steel or powder?
These days, powder, because I don't get to do it that much.
Unexpected answer.
Sorry, I've been loving the buzzer. Dude.
Chris doesn't use the buzzer much either, so any opportunity.
Like,
He hasn't turned into a turner yet. I don't even know if my mic's on.
You're live. What'd you say about What'd you say about
turned into a turner yet?
No, turning when all turning's where old pro snowboarders go to die, Bob.
What did you say about?
I saw Chris turning in Logan this year. It was pretty fun.
Sorry, this is not fun for the listeners. They can't even hear anything.
You could just buzzer, Bob.
I'm a turn guy. Okay, best style ever. Who you got?
wow, that's a heavy one, man. Let me think about that for a little bit. I don't know if I can answer that, to be honest. There's too many.
Your favorite style? Let's just rephrase it so it's like not so subjective or so like objective. Objective would be not the word. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm losing
You
it.
should mute yourself.
All right. I got my answer.
Okay, go ahead.
Cost lemons.
Dope.
That's a good answer. Okay, best method. Who you got?
Best method? Nils Arvidsson.
Good answer. Muting people is kind of like playing God. You know what I mean? Just kind of remove them from the conversation. Okay, what's your favorite video ever made?
Too hard to answer, man. Too many good ones. Too many good ones. For real. Like, I'm gonna say Some Kind of Life Neoproto, because that's probably the video I've watched the most, and it just stuck to me forever. It will.
It hits your heart.
Also, Crazy Loco is pretty damn good.
Great answer. Both good answers. What's your favorite board graphic ever made?
Dude, too hard to say. I think the OG Nitro T1 is pretty fucking sick. You know, with the black flag on there.
Is your favorite graphic ever made?
Mine?
Oh, the black flag one actually is kind of sick.
Yeah, I did like the. Well, I don't know. I can't think of too many, to be honest, right now, just out of my head.
Chris was just like waiting to roast that answer.
Roast me.
Looking at him. He's just like red in the face.
I'm thinking. I'm trying to hold back. I'm just saying. There's a lot of amazing graphics. The black flag one's cool. It was a cool graphic.
But
what's your favorite
It's not
graphic?
the fucking best graphic. It's kind of a.
What's your favorite graphic ever made?
Mine's a bizarre one, and Freddie Perry actually mentioned it in the show. It kind of pissed me off because I thought it was my favorite. I thought it was my favorite.
you were unique.
I thought I was unique, but I'm not. Freddie Perry likes it too. But there's a Capita graphic years ago that Seth Hewitt rode when he was in Shakedown, which you wouldn't even know it's a Capita. It's like a weird worm type of thing on the base, and it's green. And I just really liked the way it filled the space and how it looked. And it just spoke to me for some strange reason.
Okay.
I also... I like some old Selazniks, like the Noah's Ark board's really cool.
Those were sick. Yeah.
Did you find that awkward or interesting that now that he rides for Capita, the first board he mentioned,
and that Benny, did the Nitro.
I found that a bit interesting too.
Yeah, I mean,
these guys are naming their own sponsors. I get it.
I mean, it's a contract year. You
get
know?
it.
It's a contract year. Trying to get re-signed. Trying to get that 2-year DocuSign in that inbox. Yeah, so mine's a Capita.
Well, mine's obviously Nitro, so that's good.
I think it's
the Nitro T1, like, come on, guys. I mean, it's a good board, but best graphic of all time. I'm sorry, I'm being a dickhead, but we'll keep it moving. Looks like Nitro's not sponsoring the podcast anytime soon.
My favorite was
Just
M3, this like red board that this guy rode all the time. He's like my favorite snowboarder of all time.
That board was awesome.
All right,
Who
Bob.
would that be?
I have no idea.
We're still in hot take.
It's you, Mike.
Brain damage. Thank you, Bobby. I love you too.
All right, you go pants over or under the high back?
Under.
Okay, if you go heliboarding 3 people, just good times. You're riding POW. Hypothetical, you take whoever you want. Who are you taking in that helicopter?
3 people, I can take anyone.
Yep.
I would take...
Young Dolly took Mike Tyson, just for reference.
Sure, I remember he said that.
Homie's cooked.
Homie is cooked.
A couple
for real.
people took Obama.
Homie's cooked.
I would take my dad, because my dad still shreds. He's 64. He rips. I'm so proud of him that he's still strapped in. And actually, we've always talked about going heliboarding together before we can't do it together anymore. So maybe do it one point. So definitely my dad, my girlfriend Elisa, fiance Elisa, she rips too. She's a shredder. And then probably Karsten.
Dope.
Solid
I feel like that could be
Family.
a pretty cool crew. Yeah, family shred.
Yeah.
I'd take your dad, Young Dolly, and Mike Tyson if it was me, but that's a good heli load right there. I'm not mad at that. Okay, what else do we want to hit? I guess we could hit worst trend. What do you got for worst trend?
Pants over high backs.
I run that.
Still?
That's OG.
Oh yeah.
That's OG.
You did run it?
I still run that.
You watch
you don't.
You
Oh,
watch
yeah.
a video
I do
pre
both.
2005, 90% of the people are repping. Not 90, maybe like 70%.
I just never got down with it, I guess. But I mean, that didn't make me not like
it doesn't make any sense, that's for sure. But
to have it over.
It's habit.
I didn't ever realize it on your snowboarding.
Mm-hmm.
He sounds like he feels personally attacked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
I'm deeply offended.
Don't worry, Mikey.
I am deeply hurt. and
Don't worry,
offended.
Mikey. You know that I love your snowboarding. I think that's out of the question.
Thank you. I actually don't care. No, I mean I appreciate that, but It's just a force of habit.
It's okay.
It's okay. He's just gonna get up and leave the podcast. Really. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's okay. No, really, it's okay. All right, we're gonna get into a new segment we got here. This is really coming off the rails, which I love. All right, we're gonna get into the pub beer spin to win roulette. Basically, it's time to spin to win for some cheap, fun beer presented by Pub Beer. No matter what you're doing, cracking open a pub beer for some cheap fun is always a safe bet. So now basically roll that thing, and then or you just spin that thing and then drop the ball in there, and you have the option to basically add beers to a tab, or you can take the beers with you.
And we got a winner.
What do we got?
Is it going in? Oh,
Tell me it's a green one. That's a keg.
it's a black one.
What? How many beers on there?
There's 2 beers on there.
That's 2 cases of pub beer. You've won 2 cases of pub beer. You can either take that beer for yourself now or contribute to the pot. When the pot hits 1,000 beers, we're going to give 1,000 pub beers to a listener via Instagram. So go ahead and you want to take 2 18ers, or do you want to contribute to the pot?
I'm gonna contribute to the pot.
Wow, the pot's going.
Shit, let's see where we're gonna get with this.
So we got, I think right now we're sitting on 6 beers from Joey B's episode. Now, a case is, what are those in
18
there?
each.
18. Okay,
So
that's a lot of math. You're 1,
36
2, 3, 4,
plus
5,
8,
6,
42.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
That's a good way to
Gonna
pay
throw
the
office party.
producer
Yep.
of the show. Some free beer.
So when we get to 1,000 beers, someone's going to get to win 1,000 beers.
Yeah. So
What's happening?
we're at a lot of beers. I'm not going to do the math right now, but somewhere in the 40, 50-ish range, I think.
We're in 42.
42. Good math.
42
Good job.
beers.
Good job. Great job. Okay, let's get into setups, Benny. We like to ask our guests what board they ride and how they set it up and all that types of stuff.
Cool. I usually vary between 155 and 157 boards. Depends on what I'm going to be boarding. Stance, I'm running +9 in the front, -6 in the back, and a 52.5 or 53 centimeter stance, whatever that is in inch. But that's kind of like my go-to. I've kind of been exploring with the Nitro Quiver series a little bit. And I feel like the quiver boards just work better when you set up like very directional and very positive. So I usually run like 0 or even like +3 in the back on those just for like turning. Especially like after my knee injury last year, I was just cruising for a month or so and I was like really feeling the posy vibes. I loved it.
Sick. And now do you detune?
I slightly detune. For the resort, I barely do. For the streets, I just take the whole thing off. Just the less edge, the better.
Okay. And then what bindings you ride?
I ride Nitro team bindings.
You do anything special to those bad Larrys or just right out of the box?
Right out of the box, I give it a tiny kick of forward lean, which I like. Just both high backs, same amount of forward lean. I know some people do just forward lean on the back foot. Can't really fuck with that. Just like one little kick.
Even on rails?
Even on rails, just always.
Front board in the hubba?
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't change the forward lean.
Cool. And then as far as waxing, are you a tech nerd, or are you just kind of what's your take on?
I go pretty simple. I mostly just wax and not even scrape, to be honest.
We got a couple questions left before we wrap this thing up. Do you want to throw out any thank yous?
For sure. I would like to thank my family to help support me on my path, even it's a very unconventional path, and trusting in me, believing in me. My friends, everyone on the way that helped me, my fiancée, Lisa, and all the companies that helped me to get where I am today and making me live this unique dream of mine.
Beautiful. What's next for Benny Urban, for B-Herbs, for Burbs, if you will? Burbs.
What's next? Well, heading back to Innsbruck, gonna recover a little bit from the winter and then start planning the next little bit, going into next winter. Got a project with Vans in the making. So gonna wrap that up, a little bit of like post-production with the people that I've worked with and try to stay busy with that and think about the future. Think about which which things are important to me in life. Going to spend a lot of time with my lady and focus on that. Sometimes less is more, but definitely want to start thinking about something that I really care about besides snowboarding. Also, like job-wise, I'd love to stay in the industry, but just trying to think what I could spend my time with, really, and like focus on that, or like starting to invest time on that.
Directing movies, possibly?
Hopefully, that'd be super fun. I'd love that.
Love that. Well, thank you for coming on here and sharing your story and chatting with us. It's been a blast, Benny.
Dude, thank you guys so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
What do you think about the two hosts today?
I think it should always be like this. It's fantastic. I mean, look at Bob, look at Mikey. It's been so fun. Thank you
for the listeners. Bob's got a real butt cut going right now.
Yeah, it looks like he just dropped out of something.
It's these headphones are ruining my hair.
Handsome
okay,
Bob.
That's better.
Handsome Bob.
Well, thanks guys for coming on the show today.
Yeah,
we had a blast.
Great time.
That was
Thank
awesome.
you guys.
Thanks, Benny.
Thank you guys.
Got to say thank you so much to all of our Patreon members, all of our sponsors. We really appreciate you guys, all of our listeners, everybody that supports us, buys the merch, listens. You guys kick ass, and we got another episode for you guys next week. Over and out from the bomb hole.
Nice.
Good show, Silk. Get the Silk Kim. Silk angle.
Nice job.